on behalf of Max Romeo. Hasbro has to give him the proper rights to Transformers, along with, every, all the portfolio wealth that they've accumulated by, essentially stealing his IP. So what I'm asking of you is, what in Transformers Prime or any part of the stuff that is beyond the G1 stuff that Spin and I have mastered so much, I want to hear from you, the young master as such.
Well, perhaps Rick Alvarez and Aaron Archer were fans of that song when they invented the backstory to Transformers Prime in the early 2010s, because in that series, it was revealed that Unicron was a presence that was on Earth because he was, in fact, at the center of the Earth. And as anybody that they kept to his old origin stories from the Marvel comics.
Clarification. Yeah. Is it that he just happened to be in the center of the Earth, or was he the Earth?
He was the Earth. Right. The implication given in the backstory there is that he was defeated, floated through space, and the Earth formed around him due to gravity in primordial times. Mm-hmm. And so their goal was basically to chase his spirit out of the Earth and, defeat him without waking him up. Since if he woke up, it would spell, death for the planet, since he would transform.
Right. So, whoa, that's deep.
Yeah.
So in cultural studies, specifically Black cultural studies, African cultural studies, there is this critique of the, earlier unnuanced understanding of revolution and war and liberation, the enslaved or the oppressed against those that enslaved them, right? In all kinds of any which technologies they choose to confuse and keep them in their subjugated states, right? So obviously this is all Transformers, but I like that, so the years that they were doing, you're talking about 2008, right?
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah. So, and did Bob Budiansky tell us is there anybody else that we can include in this lawsuit? So I love that you brought up the guy, whoever did the 2008 script, right? We can sue him, sue that writer, so that's perfect. This is the kind of thing I'm asking you for. Bring me more stuff like that proves that Max Romeo is the true author of Transformers. Over to you.
Yeah. Okay. So that idea, that storyline, Unicron inside the Earth, that Transformers Prime was a part of something called the Aligned Universe, which was that attempt back in the around that era to unify all Transformers stories, and all of that sprung from a document.
What year are they doing this?
Around 2010 or so, maybe a little bit earlier.
Okay.
We don't know the exact production timeline, but there was a document called the Binder of Revelation. Excellent. And it was written by a bunch of people at HasLab, including no relation to the current thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Aaron Archer, one of the designers, and Rick Alvarez, another guy, were two of the architects of it.
Archer, architect, yeah, definitely. Yeah. A Mason.
Rick Alvarez was a big one.
A Mason, controlled by, they're controlled by aliens.
Yeah. So we've seen a few pages from this, but the whole binder has never been released to the public. But it was the Bible for all of the aligned media, which included Prime and warforcybertron, and included all the important lore beats. So Unicron being inside the Earth would have come from that document.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. So were you saying? I'm sorry if I missed it. Did you name the authors? And or whether or not we know all the authors, maybe we know the lead author, whatever. Really, where can we get do you have a copy of this document? Has it already been posted on Children of Primus? If not, can you make that happen?
Can
you coordinate it with the man to make it happen?
It's funny. Rick Alvarez, the author, was once disappointed that subsequent Transformers media didn't follow the binder that he'd helped write. So he had a famous quote where he said, "It cost over $250,000 to produce, and it lives at the bottom of a drawer." So we'd need a heck of a lot of Patreon subscribers for me to break into Rick Alvarez's house and find that thing at the bottom of that drawer and release it.
Okay, so and is it Rick's? Why is Rick not releasing it? Is because he doesn't care to look through his old stuff, or is it because he doesn't want to release it?
Perhaps he doesn't want to. Perhaps he's not allowed. We don't really know where it is now. We've never seen the full thing. We've seen a couple.
You gave me the impression. So I may have misunderstood, or assumed, but you gave me the impression that he said, I felt just like the way you described it. I was probably overreading, but I thought you were saying that like he said in an interview, "Oh yeah, I wrote the thing in the binder, and then they didn't use it. And, like it's probably in my basement somewhere. I don't even know where it is."
The full story is okay. So it was co-written by Aaron Archer, Rick Alvarez, and a few other people. We don't know the full list of authors. And Transformers Prime, warforcybertron and its sequel, and a few other books around that time were all based on it. And then there was a bunch of shakeups, and later Transformers Prime stopped following it. The sequels stopped following it, and then Rick Alvarez was famously disgruntled that they didn't follow the blueprint he'd laid out after the first couple seasons.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the full story.
So what would it take for us to track? Let's say we were serious about it. Mm-hmm. What would it take for us to track down this document and put it on our website? As a great service to the Transformers community and all those who praise Primus.
That's interesting.
Haile Selassie, right? Of course.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine that. The question is, do any of the people that wrote it have their own copies, or was it proprietary company property? Because if anybody has a copy, it's just a matter of finding somebody that worked on it, or made.
So how hard is it? So how hard is it to just like find the email of one of these guys, and or do either of them? I'm assuming they're still alive. You would have told us if not.
Oh yeah.
Are they going to be at? Are they going to be at TFCon?
That's a good question. They have been, both of them, in the past. I never saw Rick Alvarez, but I did see Aaron Archer on a panel one time.
Okay, I just got a brilliant idea. Well, I'll run it by you, and you tell me if it's brilliant or not. Mm-hmm. Let's do, we're real here. We keep it real. So we could look up the people who are going to be at TFCon ahead of time, which I assume you're doing that. And then rather than because you guys can't get across the border, right? We're talking like I could go and stream or do some interviews or whatever. But what we could do ahead of time is see who's there, see who we're most interested in, and then we could collectively compose or collect questions from our viewers, and then I can go and pose like our Children of Primus community questions to, the guys that we want to hear from. What do you think?
I think that'd be a good idea, provided they were coming.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is well, it may not be the two guys you mentioned, right? But what I'm saying is we can look at the people who are going to be there, and then look at what fiction they've done or what role they played, and see if we collectively have questions, as opposed to me just going and trying making up. I can do good making up questions off the top of my head, but I don't have the knowledge beyond G1 to ask them, probing questions that are going to be beyond, what they'll hear from a generic interviewer.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that might be a good idea. Right now, they don't have any announced guests, though. I suspect that what with COVID being what it is, they are being a little bit cautious about inviting people.
Wow, because it's in less than a month.
I'm
talking about October. TFCon.
Oh yeah. That's the Ontario Collectors Con. I think TFCon's not till December.
What's in October?
Ontario Collectors Con, I believe.
I don't mean in Canada.
Oh, right. I was thinking of my country.
Oh, say, can you think beyond these ridiculous borders in which we're confined?
Look, I got
don't know, but
America.
Yeah, who there?
An eagle.
Okay, good. Listen, I think I'm going to have to bring in your superior to deal with you because I got other things to do. Oh, well, all right. Spin brought him in. Fine, I'll bring in Spin. Bada boom, bada. Oh, brah. You gotta
Holy
connect
crap.
your camera before your vocals gonna come true. And we're
Oh my gosh.
Gotta go.
You know they have two guest speakers already for the TFCon, right?
Apparently somebody doesn't know that, and this is my motherfucking research assistant. And what the fuck is this conspiracy theory BS? Seriously, says Adam.
I have a northern bias. That's what my problem is.
Adam, listen. Yeah, sometimes things are more than meet the eye.
I gotta tell you,
my guy.
You know, Cosmo, the voice of Cosmo, and who's the other voice? What was the other
voice of Cosmo.
He's gonna be
at one of the best voices in the whole thing.
I just saw it on Facebook. Voice of Cosmo. I forgot the actor's name, and another voice. It's gonna be at TFCon December, Canada.
Oh, nice. But we're talking about
you
the American
motherfuckers.
one.
We're talking about October in Baltimore.
You know, I live in Canada, so you can deal with the Baltimore side. I'm going to deal on the Canadian side.
Ghost MC, wherever you are, if you're watching, shout out to you. Clearly, you got some patriotic Canadians.
Holy crap! That's
my silver hawk. Well, white hawk, I guess.
Wings of silver, nerves of steel.
I got news for you. I finally looked up the American one, the Baltimore one, that's happening October 22nd. Rick Alvarez is going to be there, i.e. one of the and he's the guy who's vocal about the Binder of Revelation. He's the one who's he's the one that said it lives at the bottom of a drawer. So you got to talk to him and be like, do you have a copy? Will you ever release it? Can we have a look? A lot of people would love to see that.
In that scenario, would I be playing the role of Tom Hanks in Da Vinci Code, or am I one of the people? What was it? Am I one of the people that his character is going to go interview?
Huh. Well,
no. Here's what I mean. Am I Tom Hanks in this analogy, or is the author that I'm going to go interview? That's what I mean. Or is he Tom Hanks? Because he's exposing it.
I think can you be Tom Hanks if you were one of the authors of the thing that's hidden?
It depends if your friend is a volleyball.
and it depends if it's we're talking about Mission Impossible, right? So people could just take off their face and be someone else, and who did it better than anyone else but Starscream?
Well,
he copied Starscream.
Tom Cruise, man.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise. Who did it first?
Come on, Top Gun. Isn't that is that not Jet Envy?
Well, Tom Cruise.
Is that not Decepticon envy? You want to fly a F-15, a F-14? That's Decepticon envy.
I'm just saying G.I. Joe.
A real American. That's right. Fuck you, Canadians. He'll fight for freedom to represent devils. He'll police the globe.
I don't remember G.I. Joe's theme going that way.
He'll police the globe.
I kind of do.
I
know another version too, but I don't feel like singing it.
Sure, everyone gets a vote. Oh man.
No.
Good. Wait, Adam. Adam, please don't leave. Okay, it's not going to be conspiracy theory.
Okay, well, hold on. What's the conspiracy? What is this conspiracy Adam's talking about?
there
was a conspiracy. So what's that about?
Spin can fill you in.
No, I actually missed. I've overheard some stuff while I was connecting, but I didn't catch what's the basis of the conspiracy.
Yeah.
How disrespectful! Even Soundwave wasn't tuning in.
I was tuned in. There was a song called called I Chase the Devil by Max Romeo and the Upsetters from 1976. And some of the lyrics are a little bit interesting. And Dee was speculating that they might perhaps have resonance with Transformers, both classic and Transformers Prime.
Small clarification. I am representing the great elder, my client, Max Romeo. Haile Selassie through the vibes of Max Romeo. And what I'm arguing in court, okay, is that Chase the Devil Out of Earth, which you guys know the song. Anthony, he has no culture. What can we do? That's why we're trying to, culturate him to something. But here's what we are going to do. So you guys know the lyrics, right? To Chase the Devil Out of Earth. Right?
Kind of. I thought you were doing the Humpty dance there for a second. I thought you were talking.
I was earlier.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do it because I'm about. No, we're gonna have like a whole episode dedicated to the late great Shock G.
Okay.
But I'm being serious here. Here's the poignant lines that you've already heard, but I'll just remind you of so that you can theorize on it. Because I'm asking Anthony as my research assistant, but certainly you guys can help as well. Is give me some data to prove in court that Max Romeo is the real inventor of the Transformers. Because in that song, when he says, I'm going to put on an iron shirt and chase the devil out of Earth, I'm going to send him to outer space to find another race. Right now, remember, this is a Rasta song, right? So why is he talking about, why aren't you just going to kill the devil? Why are you going to send him to outer space to find another race? And back in the 70s, people were interpreting the iron shirt, as Knights of the Round Table. But could it actually
be angels, like the Archangel Michael in them?
It could, exactly. But the Archangel Michael, if you read the description of how terrible he looked and frightful, he was made of all kinds of weird organic, inorganic metals. Who knows? That's my question to you. Could it be not like a King Arthur type of suit, but actually something like, organic metal? Could it be some? Yeah. Could it be cosmic rust? Could it be, the stuff from the Golden Lagoon? Is it transformium, unobtainium, vibranium? What the motherfucking cultural thing that you want to say to them? Maybe it's composed of air or ether. I'm asking you if you can help me prove that Max Romeo really wrote the Transformers. Is that iron shirt? Is that Ironhide? Over to you.
Well, I kind of remember that song a little differently in the 90s because that was like a really hit trance song back in the days.
Yeah. And then Jay-Z did a version too, so it's a big tune.
It is.
It's a big tune.
Could he be the one that started Transformer? Could he?
Yeah, could Bob Budiansky, Bob Budiansky was getting high in the office. He had 2 days to write all this stuff.
Right.
And he's listening to reggae, talking to his friends. And he's like, yo, I'll just change. I'm not gonna say, Lucifer. Instead, I'm gonna say Megatron, who rules through tyranny. Yeah. Did he rip off Max Romeo? Obviously, Hasbro needs to pay up to the brother. Yes or no?
It could be.
Can I get a Primus?
It's plausible because back in those days, man, when you had writer's block, there were some natural resources that you could take to help you be very creative. Right? Natural organisms,
Right.
That really goes great on pizzas and hamburgers, if you know what I mean.
I think I catch your drift.
Right. And you can see all these spacey colors, the red, white, and blue, and purple.
It's funny because
right.
Bob Budiansky, I saw him at a panel and I chatted with him a bit one TFCon, and if you
all there.
Yeah, it's just funny because I'm you thought it's inherently funny imagining this mild-mannered, extremely milquetoast guy listening to reggae music and imbibing substances for creativity. If you'd saw him, you'd think it was a very funny dichotomy.
But what do you think Nintendo did with Mirror Brother? What do you think Nintendo did with Mirror Brother? How the hell you can compare an Italian plumber chasing a princess in through through pipes, and the next minute he gets all big and strong after consuming some mushrooms?
That's an Alice in Wonderland reference, actually.
Well, there you go. So it's possible. Yeah, I like that. I like the avatar that Mike has there.
Yeah. The answer to Mario is just Shigeru Miyamoto is a weirdo of the best kind, and he's always been.
Right.
Well,
If you
I
really
think
Go
they
ahead,
use
Mike.
that same theory for Santa Claus as well. You know, like how does Santa Claus and the reindeer, like, how are they able to fly and pull off what they're doing?
Puff the magic dragon. Puff the magic dragon.
Mm-hmm.
The autumn mist.
Yeah. So going to what D is saying, you could stretch it and it could be a plausible. Does that answer your question, D? I guess not.
Has disappeared for the evening.
Maybe he's looking for some stuff as well too. I guess, who knows?
Yeah. I just wanted to. At some point tonight, I wanted to show the audience something here because we were talking about conventions last week, and I'm in the process of prepping for the
I worked at one.
Yeah, Ontario Collectors Con on October 3rd. It's my unique method, which I did not develop, somebody else did, of selling and storing figures. So what I've got here are comic book bags and boards.
Yeah.
And what I do is I put them in here and tape it up like a comic, and the figure goes in. If they got instructions, they go in. Price tag goes on them. I scotch tape the top as well as I can, and then you can, if you do them like this, you can lay them out on a table, or you can even put them in a box, like so people can flip through them like comics or albums or whatever. And that's how I've been selling figures for years. With the caveat that it doesn't work for anything larger. You got to just stick those in Ziploc bags and take them out. But people that see these at conventions always seem to like them. So if more people start doing it this way, maybe it'll make it nicer for everyone.
Did you take that off of Danny?
Yeah, it was not him that came up with it. It was a friend of his named Joey that came up with it.
Joey.
Because she was into comics and was like, why don't we stick these in bags like comics?
Oh, Joey. Okay, we gotta get her on the show, eh?
Yeah.
I've talked to her a few times, and so we gotta get her on the show, and she's all for it.
Yeah, but shout out to her because this was her idea, and I still use it to this day. So.
And then she also has a pretty cool podcast as well too that talks about comics and pop, everything. What do you want to pop culture? I meant to say has to do with everything about comic books and toys or whatever cases. It's what's it called again? Gotham. No, that's where she works. Yeah, she works at Gotham Central, which is a great store. I've been in there a few times. Right, and her podcast is called what again? Do you recall? Oh, I feel like a horrible friend because I don't remember it right this second. Uh-oh. Very good. I'm trying to give you a plug here.
While you're looking it up, shout out to Calvin, shout out to David, and shout out to, scroll up, there we go, to Adam. As Adam was asking about the conspiracy, Calvin is saying for Soundwave to report, and David said, I don't sell my figures yet, but I really dig that, I guess, the idea of putting them in the bags. Yeah, if you find a comic shop, most of them just have these things for sale, so you can just buy them just in bulk like I did, and then I'm still using a stash I got years ago. So nice. Yeah, makes them easy to transport too because I just load them in some bins and then fan them out. Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, I'm still trying to find. I know she has a media called Stitch Media. Yeah. And this is me being bad at names. I'm bad at everything's name. So it's don't take me not remembering personally. Me too. The funny part is I've always see it on Facebook, when she posts something like that, anything on there, and I'm like,
okay, you know what? I gotta listen. I gotta check it out and stuff like that. And I forget the name. I'm terrible, man. I gotta take some omega-3s.
Okay. David has asked a question. How do you guys feel about throwing boxes out? Well, I'll let you guys answer that, and then I'll jump in.
It depends. Depends. Sorry, Anthony. For me, it really depends. If there's a really good box art, I'm gonna keep it, obviously, and I'm probably gonna buy 2 of them in a sense of like 2 figures. One I'm gonna keep in the box, so it's like in mint condition, and then the other one obviously I'm gonna play with, right? But if the box art for me is not that appealing, it's very genetic and boring, then I'll most likely toss it away.
Yeah. What I was going to say is I toss them unless there's something special to the boxes. If it's like a regular mainline figure, I don't keep them. But if it's, say, like a Takara thing right here, I'll keep these. And also these really plain ones that the Gen Selects come in. I keep them because I found them useful, because I'll use them on my shelves as risers, and you can store things in them. So I keep these because they're actually like utilitarian.
Nice.
Yeah, utilitarian. Sounds like
well, Autobots are, we have ingenuity, right? This is part of the core ethic. Reuse, recycle.
Reuse every part of the buffalo. I wish I had a Beast Wars Bone Crusher to pull up here.
Okay, so that's actually like a technological statement. Right? Use every part of the buffalo. That's the same as like reuse your packaging. So it doesn't end up clogging the arteries that the earth as an organism needs to breathe so that we can breathe.
That's what she said.
I was just showing them my comic book bagging system.
I believe.
My comic book bagging system for selling figures at conventions. I was just showing it off.
Nice.
Keep them inside comics bags and boarded. You can line them up in a box. You can fan them out on a table. You can just give them to people if they want to buy them. Just hand them off.
So you know what? It makes sense doing that way, because every time that I've been diving, right, for Transformers, whatever, I find that method useful. Versus, when you have a whole like a bunch of old figures in one big bin, and you're just scrambling, and then you're kind of like messing with the other guys while trying to go through all that stuff, and it's I prefer that. It just makes things a lot more convenient.
Yeah, that's partially why.
So that looks great. I love it. It also kind of makes me want to cry, because it reminds me of how I lost all my comic books. I had a nice big collection, but storing your figures like that, I intend to have all my accessories like really well organized. Like I plan to do it in maybe like when one of you guys takes over, I'll go get some compartments that I've been buying, different kinds of things, like the kinds of things that you put screws in, right? Organized screws in. I've been buying different things to see like what's big enough, what's small, what's too big or too small. But the other idea that I had is for figures that are too big to fit in comic book bags, the way you're doing there. I buy from the dollar store these 2.5 gallon huge Ziploc bags. So it's basically like 12 by 12. So you can actually put like a vinyl record in there. And like hang up your vinyl record. So I think, you're giving me the idea that, well, unless you've already done that too with big figures, but wouldn't it be cool? You're just using like a cardboard backing.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be cool? So the idea you gave me is I'm going to go try to do what you did, because it looks awesome. But I'm going to try to take it up a notch by printing out like some cool artwork, maybe from some of the packaging that you were just referencing, third-party packaging, or some of the best artwork of a given figure, and then just print that and put that as your backdrop. And then even though it's in a bag, a Ziploc bag or comic book bag, it can maybe it would evoke like on-card packaging.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was already trying to do. So having artwork there would make it look even more official, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, you just cause your figure to raise in price. You know that, right? For the extra expense and
Buy low, sell high, bro.
Just letting you guys know, right?
That's all I know.
So,
All right. So David has said, I don't care much for the Hasbro boxes, but damn, these third-party manufacturers have some sweet artwork. I would jump in and funny enough, David kind of his later comment ties in with my with my topic in terms of collecting the boxes. I mean, I got my characters, my collection from early 80s, so I don't have those boxes anymore. But funny enough, David then mentioned that he was saying that someone gave me a good idea of clipping out just the front part of the box because it has the best artwork, and I still have like a handful of the actual character images from the boxes that I've cut out, including the text specs. Which
that's
is
that's what he's saying, or were you saying?
That's what he's saying. That someone gave him the idea, to cut it out. So I still have the cutouts of those boxes from.
Okay, no, hold on. You didn't hear my question. Let me ask my question.
Okay.
I'm not. I just want to clarify. Are you saying that he also he has those cutout pieces, or are you saying that he did this thing, cut out those pieces, and you, Spinister, have also saved those cutout pieces?
Also.
Cool. And me too. And I may have mentioned on the podcast, but a funny thing is that I always wanted to keep my boxes. You saw that I have a few of the more recent boxes, which are the headmasters, but I couldn't keep my original Optimus Prime box and all that stuff. So the compromise my mom made with me was she said, I'll let you cut out the text specs and the artwork from the box, but we can't keep the box because it takes up too much space. So I still have those pieces as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it does sound nice. Yeah, there was a point where I saved that stuff, but I purged it all when I was a lot younger.
Oh no.
Yeah, at 8, like at 5, 6, 7, 8, I tore my box because I was so happy to get a toy.
Okay.
So it was like a Christmas gift. You know when you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right? And because I just wanted to get to the toy, I didn't really care at that time.
Yeah.
Knowing now,
so you're not saying you did it by accident. You're not saying you did it by accident. You're saying when you were a kid into Transformers, you didn't care about the boxes.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to get that toy out and play with it, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, but now in hindsight, you're like,
right,
damn, I should have kept all that stuff, right?
So, and we're the same age, right?
Yeah.
And what year did you get your first Transformer?
That's a really good question. I think it was 80. Was it 84, 83?
Actually,
I don't think it could be 83. I think it's the question is more like 84 or 85.
No, the reason why I say 83 because I think
Diaclone maybe.
Well, it could have been the Diaclones, or it could have been because I remember grabbing the first Bumblebee, Cliff Jumper, all the little ones, all the little those came out first, or that's what I saw first, right? And again, they could have been the Diaclones, or it could have been the actual Transformer, but the little ones. And I remember grabbing them. I can't remember because I'm old, dude. I just finished saying, man, I need some Omega 3s. So I don't know if it was 84 or early 84 or late 83 into 84 kind of thing when I saw those. You get what I mean?
But
because I remember in 85.
I thought you can correct me if I'm wrong. I thought so. I do.
No, let me just finish this one point and just to kind of answer, maybe it may answer your question.
Sure.
Because in 85, that's when I moved from Driftwood to Janus Shepherd, right? Okay. And I already had a collection, somewhat of a collection in a sense, before I made that move from Driftwood to Janus Shepherd, right? Okay. So that's why I'm saying I can't remember if it was late 83, very early 84.
Listen, I'm asking just a simple point of fact that you can't say yeah until you hear the question.
I'm saying yeah, get to your point.
It's a simple thing to just see. If I am wrong, that I thought like G.I. Joe first came out, like the very first G.I. Joes were in 83, but the very first Transformers did not come out until 84. Doesn't mean you couldn't have a model of one of these things, could have been Diaclone, could have been imported. But it could not have been a Transformer if it was 83, I think. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Like I said, I can't tell if you're wrong or you're right.
I'm saying to the podcast. Like, no, somebody can just Google that and confirm or say I'm wrong.
I get what you're saying.
It's a fact check.
I'm just saying for my recollection is just because I remember getting my first, and it was Bumblebee too. It was my first, and Cliff Jumper.
And a real Bumblebee, not a Bumble Jumper, not a
no.
What the fuck is this one? I wonder.
Bumblebee. Unfortunately,
I remember, the real Bumblebee kind of circulating around even before, like seeing any other Transformers. Not knowing where that friend got it from, but that's one of the earliest one I've seen. I guess the question would be, how old were you guys in '84? Because I think I was at least 10 or 11.
You're 8.
I didn't exist.
So anyway,
you're still some kind of sack.
I was just trying to find a way to see if maybe you were younger than me, so that I could say, oh yeah, well, once you got a little older, you'll realize that this is some fine art here. But you just weren't a connoisseur of fine art at the time.
No, I wasn't a connoisseur of fine Transformers at the time.
David was 3 at the time.
I was a connoisseur of 4. Yeah, I was
all
a
right,
connoisseur.
David. We in the same generation.
Yeah, no, I was a connoisseur of. I want to play with my toys now, please.
Yes.
It's funny because, like, when I would keep the backs of cards and stuff as a kid, but it wasn't because out of any sense of preserving the value. It's because I liked like the catalogs and the art and the bios, and I thought they were neat to look at, and I just keep them in a drawer sometimes.
No, and you know what, Anthony, you're right to say that, right? And it kind of ties back a little bit to was Dee's mom. Right, because even with my mom as well too, is like especially the neat freak that she was. Okay, you got your toy out of the box. Okay, let's go now. Put it in the garbage. Let's go. Hurry up, right? Yeah. And there's sometimes I did cut some of the tech specs, and hopefully that's probably leading into our conversation or to the topic, right? So I've kept some of those, right, in a sense of because I thought it was pretty cool because remember that red
decoder.
Thank you. The red decoder that, I thought, oh, look, that's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
But then, again, it probably went into the garbage because, my mom came into my bedroom, to snoop around and clean up and everything.
Well,
and, hey, this belongs in the garbage.
It was a whole different thing.
Sorry?
Never mind.
Okay. I'm deaf for 1 year, man. Sorry. So,
listen, David says that he used to cut out those G.I. Joe character descriptions, right? So the bios. I think that I saw in a documentary, maybe on Netflix, one of these recent ones, where I think they made it clear that like the bios on the back of the G.I. Joe figures, that happened first and set the precedent, which was ported over in the form of tech specs.
I think that's the case too.
Anybody, I think maybe here let's vote. The people who in 80, who when they were 7 or 8 or 9 had who at least clipped the tech specs. Right. So if you didn't do that, you're not a real G. I wonder. Am I being too harsh or not?
Listen, you know what? I've actually, and we've talked about this in other episodes. I've actually mailed in those little Autobot heads, to get my, the one free Transformer right? So,
did an adult help you do that? Like, were you the prime moving force?
Yeah.
Or was it like your dad who helped you do it?
Oh no, that was me because I was like,
I respect that.
Like, well,
that's being a serious collector because I always wanted that. But I don't know. I didn't even see it as really in my realm of possibilities. Like, really, I'm going to send a letter. I'm 8.
Wait, hold on. You want to know something? It wasn't being a serious collector. It was someone that, grew up in a poor family to a certain degree. And you're like, oh, shit, man, there's something free I can get? I want that free thing.
No, I love it. That's that grind, right? That's that hustle ethic that we all share.
And we're talking about, during the generation where you either got like little free toys out of the bottom of a cereal box, which if you knew how to tilt the box and reach in a certain way, you got the toy, the moment that box came home, or they'd have like those little send away things on the back of them. So like every toy and comic books back then had some sort of collect these points, send something in, and you get something free in the mail. I think some
was
of them
that
were
also pioneered by G.I. Joe?
That I'm not sure. Who knows?
Well,
actually, what
I feel
was
like that
G.I.
exists.
Joe
Probably
giveaways?
Google knows.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
Google
you
knows.
gotta remember,
Google knows too much.
Yeah, I know. But you got to remember as well too, and I mentioned this before, right? Like that was like the Wild West in a sense of like toys like exploding at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had all these different kind of toys coming out, and so
it was a special time.
Right, and they have to explain what it is and give names and all that stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that was like the golden age. I can literally say when it comes to toys.
Yeah, and I mean we're speaking like almost every toy then between G.I. Joe, Transformers, Cabbage Patch, My Little Pony, Visionaries, like almost like any Thundercats, any of the popular cartoons and toys, all had bios associated with them, and came with the toys.
I think Transformer took it up a notch after when they started to add, comic books to that, like a related comic book to that figure, right?
Didn't Masters of the Universe start that?
Oh, that's a good question.
They were the first show of that type. Like they pioneered the whole.
No, I'm talking about the comic books and the figures.
I'm not. You know what? We're gonna have to ask Google.
Funny, I've never.
I'm pretty sure. Look, I'm
comics.
Am I wrong in assuming that
No.
you guys have? What is this? What is this thing you do where you're like, don't listen, you just answer the question? I haven't said it. Stop it, dude.
Did you forget I'm Q?
Fuck. I don't remember what I was saying.
Okay, while you take a moment there, catch up on the comments.
Let me talk about David's comment right here.
Yeah.
The earlier one that we went by, he said the back of the figures. Okay, so at his comment at 7:46. I got it. Let me put it up right here.
Okay.
Because I think this is an interesting thing. I was even thinking that we might do a video on this, where he says, and David, let me, give us a comment if I'm interpreting right what you're saying here. When you say that's how I feel about the backs of figures and such, right? So we collected, he was saying everything's important, the packaging, etc. But also here, this is a really interesting thing. He's saying the backs of figures. So I've heard, like, there's this whole meme, which you guys have probably heard on the forums, where, when people are reviewing figures, talking about figures, they say, oh, yeah, the back kibble looks really bad. And then inevitably, there's going to be some idiot who has to say, well, I don't care. I don't display my figures from the back. And it's like, and this is like some kind of statement which has been so like beat over the head that it like people accept it even though that's stupid. Like that it's a comment that's just used to say, oh, I don't, only the front of the figure matters. Like if that's true, why don't you just buy paintings? Over to you guys.
Wow.
Shots are being fired. If the backs of figures don't matter to you like it does to me and David, why don't you just paint some pictures?
Well, isn't the whole point of buying a transformer versus buying a statue is that it's something that you can interact with from multiple angles and not leave on a shelf? I mean, so I do. They live on a shelf and then they come down to my desk to interact with from time to time.
Right.
And you would think that if they put enough work into designing the front, I mean, considering G1 and certain characters, how they didn't fully look like the cartoon, you'd assume the back, when the character turns around in the back of the cartoon, the toy would kind of look similar to that and not just be, just random parts or whatever is happening in the back.
Question. Who do you blame for that? Because obviously the animators could have just put in a little more elbow grease and draw the back of the goddamn robot.
Now, you know what? You know whose fault it is? And I say this because of Chris McFeely, the guy that did Transformers the Basics, did a little Art of Transformers series on YouTube.
Okay.
It is the fault of whoever gave the people that designed the animation models reference photos that didn't have the backs of the original toys. So they had to draw what they saw from the front, and then they had to make something up for the back. And then they drew those models and handed them off to the animators.
Nice.
That's where the communication chain broke.
Well, not the manufacturers, David.
Yeah. They make a trail breaker, and then
Executive producers could have been anywhere.
yeah. I didn't hear any of that.
Yeah, your mic cut for a second.
Yo. Okay.
Yeah,
There
you're
you
back.
go.
All right. I gotta double check these cords. Okay.
Well, David then asked, okay, so who do you blame for the recent back kibble?
Well, not deformation. What is it called? Deformation Space, who made the new Starscream that everybody's reviewing this week. That's
okay.
that's the best seeker from the back ever.
Yeah.
In any seeker that's ever been made. So David, Bobby is saying that Deformation Space is the same company as he's heard that it's the same company as what's the one? It's Magic Square or Transform Element, who made the Transform Element Prime and Mirage. They're saying it's the same people who made this Starscream. And this Starscream, I'm assuming you guys have seen it. If not, I'll pull up a picture and show you. It looks so much better than the Masterpiece version. MP52.
Nice.
Have you not seen it?
Heard.
No. If you can pull up a picture, that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'll pull it up. Come out. If Thundercracker and Skywarp come out, my children will miss out on milk for a bit.
Yeah, because I'm going to get you a picture of Thundercracker right now. You guys talk, I'm going to find this picture. Because, yeah, exactly. You got to have priorities, right?
I don't know. For me to answer this question, because I've been a little silent on it.
Some of these kids are spoiled. Anyway.
I didn't really care about the back of a Transformer when I was growing up. I just cared about the front part and playing with it and transforming it because I had two toys in one.
Funny for me, it was a bit of both. And I mean, even as a child, you kind of have that understanding that it's a toy. There's limitations on however, and as a child, you're like, however or whoever built it. So say like the back of Ultra Magnus, not the greatest looking thing, but you have an understanding why the back looks like that. But then you look at the back of Omega Supreme, like he's identical to how he is in the cartoon. Like they properly designed him, and then certain other characters, like they actually put the work into the front and back.
Well, look at Ironhide. Ratchet. You know what I mean? Until they corrected it by putting a clip-on head on it after, right?
Yep.
So it's like, again, as a kid,
that was it. That was a sore spot for me as a kid, for sure.
Right, but as a kid, you look at the toy, like, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't look like the cartoon at all, right? But then again, who cares? You got a toy, right?
Exactly. The animators looked at that pile of parts and said, "What the hell is this?" And then just designed their own thing, basically.
Right. So and now that you're older, it's I don't know. Obviously, you get a little bit more picky, right? Sorry, guys, I'll be right back.
I mean, if you're talking about who to blame for modern back kibble, it depends on the figure. I think a lot about like the new hyper cartoon accurate masterpieces and how they have these giant piles of parts on their backs. Like Bumblebee and 2 and Optimus 3 are bad about that because of all the cheating they do to try to make them look as much like the cartoon models as possible from like every other angle.
Right.
So it's blame the design aesthetic of extreme animation model accuracy at all costs.
I mean, and it's and the thing is, for myself, like haven't really dug into all of the newer toys and figures to really pick up on that conversation of everyone complaining on the back kibble. The only character that I've only ever had that issue with, just from first glance, is RC. Whereas every version of RC I've seen come out, like it's just this horrible backpack that they keep putting on her, as if they can't figure out a way to design it without her back looking like that.
Yeah. I love the because I have the Earthrise one here, and they finally just sort of threw in the towel because it's like, here's the fairly good looking figure. Those pylons were there on the character model, and then they just like have a chunk that you just take off and throw away to make it work, basically. And like they're like, it's got foot pegs on it, so she can ride it like a surfboard. But really, it's just you're just supposed to chuck it away.
That's what she said.
Yeah, because when you put it back in car mode,
hold on.
There we go.
Hold on. Just, let's say open tag, like this is where you actually, if you're going to do a clip, like it just ended right there. He actually said surfboard. He's holding up a fucking pink action figure with boobs. And he said surfboard, and I said, that's what she said. So you just hit end. It doesn't go up from there. Like that is solid gold in age Cybertron here on Children of Primus. Now, let's continue with the next segment, obviously. Oh, no, what did I want to say? I'll start it off and throw back to you, Anthony. I just saw, I think this week, somebody who did a custom version of that figure. And what they did, precisely because it's basically a shell former, everybody says it's like, it's a great action figure, right? The figure itself is a nice figure. And then it just like has a car like slapped on it, right? So ultimate shell former. It's almost pushing a pretender in reverse, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to look for the picture after I throw back to you. Somebody took advantage of that, just took off that vehicle mode and did a custom where she transforms into some kind of 1980s car that she was in some piece of fiction. And he did it with his 3D printer, and it looks so dope.
Nice.
I've seen that before. That is RC from the Transformers versus Terminator miniseries.
Nice. Exactly. Did. Nice.
Yeah.
Was that recent?
Yeah. It's like last year. It was a pretty good series. I have all the issues. I read it and everything. And like it's mostly like G1 accurate, but then they gave a few characters redesigned, so they just gave her a different design. People. I was following that. I don't remember his name, but I followed him on Twitter, so I got to see like the evolution of that project because he did like test prints and things.
Nice.
Yeah. It just like slaps a new shell on her so that it just a different car forms around her. So they use that shell for good, right? Because they're like, well, if it's a shell, then we can turn it into a different shell, right?
Yeah, exactly. But then he did it even better than that because he actually tried his best. It's like his is half like a parts former and half actual transformer. And so, he was trying to do the whole thing, but he's one guy.
Limits of technology.
Yeah, exactly. But he still actually turned it into at least a transformer as opposed to a shell former. Right? So it's even like what he did is even more work than if he just took off that shell and just put on another shell and then she carries it on her back. Right? He didn't do that. It actually incorporates into her robot mode, which I'll show you if I can find it online here.
Let's see. Shout out to Kira for joining us this evening, and to David's comment. Let's see. As a kid, I didn't notice the back of Transformers as much as I did the front. That's what kept your attention, right? But for something like G.I. Joe, I looked at those. I had figures in a full 360 mentality as a kid. And I guess the difference, because G.I. Joes are humans, so you kind of would assume the entire body would take the human form.
You would assume that.
You'd assume that. Although
you're surprised when you find a big hole in their back.
Yeah.
These guys got no soul.
Wait a minute, they did have a big hole in the back. How'd you plug in their backpacks?
It's like they weren't even real human beings after all. He didn't even have actual human form, which is so disappointing.
Yeah, look, Ian Noble, the G.I. Joe figure, Action Man, has a big hole in his back. Doesn't even have anything that goes in there because he was retooled from something else.
Well, is that just the hole for a screw?
Yeah, no. This is one of the Revolution set guys, and they were all old G.I. Joe figures that they repainted and retooled. So presumably, whatever body this originally was had a backpack, but the Action Man version doesn't.
Right.
What can you hold that figure up again?
Let me just get a better grip. There we go.
So it's a G.I. Joe figure, you're saying?
Yes. It's part of the Revolution box set they did a few years ago from IDW's Revolution comic there. So this is Action Man, and they made him from a G.I. Joe.
Okay, so it's 3.5, not 4-inch.
It's 3.5. Yeah, it's. Yeah, I don't know enough about Joe to say where he came from, but like everybody in the set was like just retools of G.I. Joe figures that were modern at the time. This was like 2016.
Joker. I think I got a Joker right here. Do I? No, I don't.
False alarm.
Oh, well, but how about this? Seeing as, this is going to be totally out of context anywhere in the show, but now is where we've sort of come across it.
That's a Batman. That's a good Batman.
McFarlane Toys.
They're.
So I hear people talk about these all the time. Bobby talks about these, but I've never bought any. So I just figured I'd check them out. And I don't even know how to pronounce this guy's name. Like, is it Side or Seed?
Dark Side.
It's Dark Side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Actually, I think Darkseid is one that has a really interesting battle with Superman in one of the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
in all the series that Darkseid exists, right?
True, but it's the speech that it's actually a really good speech where Darkseid is just kind of hammering away at Superman, thinking he's winning. Superman then turns around and starts beating on him, and he goes, "You do realize with my strength, I'm always using like 0.5% because I'm going to either kill someone, break something. I'm too strong. But you, on the other hand, we can go battle, beat for beat.
Well, I can actually fight you.
Yeah.
I can actually fight you. Everyone else, I'm taking.
I can actually throw a full punch without being afraid your entire head is just going to go flying into the next dimension.
Yep.
Well,
liberating.
Well, if you look at Injustice,
which I often look at.
Okay, which is called there's a new animated series called Injustice where it's based on a comic book where the Joker. Let's just say he had a big hole in his heart from Superman.
Did you see? Oh yeah. I feel like I saw that. Did you see the fan fiction Batman film that I shared in our message group?
Yes, I like that actor.
Yes, but I know Spin saw it. I know
like
Spin saw it. You guys didn't see it?
No.
Which one was that?
Spin, do you know?
Sorry, when was it?
Describe to these guys what it was, because you actually remember the name of the actor and stuff.
Actually, well, do you guys know the TV show? What's the name of the show? Now it's slipping my mind. Unfortunate Circumstances, I believe.
No, I haven't heard.
Or
of
is it a series of
unfortunate events?
That's
Yes.
a good title.
The narrator that's in the show, he's the guy that plays Batman. And he's just like really he's tall and just has like this really deep natural voice. That works for him. But I believe it's fan made, but it's done really well. Like just maybe like one step below something you'd see from Hollywood.
Yeah, literally, that was like a great description of it that you said. It's like it's not Hollywood, but it's like so close. It's
it was done
Just
really
one
well.
little tweak, boom, there you go.
And like even the Joker, like the dialogue between him and the Joker, like it's perfect.
It was well written. It was well acted. Yeah, so you guys should watch it. It's like, is it like 20 minutes, 20-minute film?
About that.
Yeah, but it was
What's the
dope.
title?
Spin,
For the sake of our audience.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
search. Yeah, I'll search
you know,
for it and bring it up.
You know what I think we need to do? So, like, I think we really, like, when we make references, when we come up with like these kinds of, the things that come up in our discussions, pieces of fiction or, obscure figures or something that are visual, we should like maybe sort of take a note. Like, we often, when we're just like, talking right now, obviously it's hard for us to like Google an image in the moment. We often say we're going to, and we don't. So, but what I think we should do instead, given that that's difficult, is we should try to keep like just a little, scribble on a paper, like the different images or figures that are discussed in the episode. And then we could just throw up pictures of them, in comments in the section with the video on the website. I know that wasn't clear. Let me say it again like this. So like this episode is going to be posted on Children of Primus. It should have its own page on Children of Primus. You go back and you say, oh, you're going to watch the episode you're going to binge watch. So you're going to watch the September 26th episode. So underneath that page, like on that page below the video, we should have the images that we reference, right? Or the figures, Anthony, that you hold up, that you have, that, it's not really high res for people to see. You can then take a nice picture and post it right under this video when we're done. That would be a cool thing, I think.
Well, I will
cool
say,
feature of the website.
At 9:30, we will jump into the topic of the tech specs. As I get my notes together and actually get my box of old tech specs that we can show. And there's a few suggestions that people have had, so I'll add those in.
Awesome.
Mikey, share my screen. Is this what you're talking about? Something like this when we're referring to something, and then we show something.
Yeah.
Everybody's face is amazing there.
Yeah. Yes, when I saw that, you know what? You know whose face I was actually stuck on was Batman's.
He's like, yeah, that was supposed to be me, Superman.
Oh, shit.
He's like, what do I do now? Who am I now? Batman.
That's
without
exactly
Joker.
it.
Like, what the hell?
I'm gonna go retire.
Like, yeah.
If you retire, you're no longer Batman.
You can cut it now. All right, so that's pretty cool. Okay, well, we could do that, I think.
That image feels like it needs a meme format where it's like each person is captioned as being something.
Yeah.
For example.
Wait, hold on. I think I found one here with Batman. Nope,
I'm going to step away for a moment.
Hold on, I'll be back.
Oh boy, everybody's abandoning us.
You and me, kid. You and me, kid. That's okay. So I don't think you answered my question, Anthony, from the beginning of the podcast. I think you were in the middle of like giving me the evidence for the Max Romeo theory of Transformers invention, the true author. Were there other parts of the fiction that you could muster up as proof?
Well, let me look at those lyrics again because I really quickly pulled them up. I'm gonna send him out to space to find another race. Whoa! Oh, hold on. What about the third season of the original cartoon?
Thank you for showing up to work all of a sudden. Go ahead.
What about when the Quintessons chased? When the Transformers chased the Quintessons off of their planet? They were their creators, but also their enslavers, and then they chased them off into space. Never to be seen again for millions of years.
Exactly. David, I think the answer is yes. I think definitely Transformers led the pack here.
Yeah. I mean, Masters of the Universe was trying to come back for a long time, and they're finally doing it, and it's actually pretty impressive. I don't go there, but like, they got those retro figures, and they got like 2 new shows.
Okay, so do you know anything about? We talked a little bit about Revelation, Master Universe Revelation, which was like awesome. Should be talking a long way from the mic. Give me 1 second. I want to take a sentence. But yeah, do you know anything about the other show? Is it just for like little kids? It looks a little corny.
Well, it is. So was the original. It's meant to just be like the main show for a new generation, basically. That's my understanding.
Oh, that's okay. That makes perfect sense, actually.
Yeah, like the adults can go watch Revelations. The idea is the kids can watch this new one.
Now, did you watch Revelations?
No, I did not. To this date, the only He-Man media I've seen is the 80s movie, which I loved, but that's all I've seen.
I hated it when it came out because it wasn't my He-Man and I'm a G1er. But I watched it a few years ago, and I was like, okay, this isn't that bad. And now I like Dolph, Lundgren.
Yeah.
Well,
I only saw
okay, I'll give him a pass.
I only saw it this year, and I had a grand time. I don't know. I think everybody misunderstood their mission statement. Their mission statement was to be like really fun, and I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah. So when I watched it again, I didn't hate it the way I did as a kid. As a kid, I was taking it as. Let's see, what year is that? I was still a kid, and I was taking it serious.
Yeah.
So, no need for that. But here's what I wanted to show you, because organically this came up. I got a lot of shit to show you here, actually, Anthony. We don't need these other motherfuckers. Spin. Hey, I was just saying, we need you back.
Here I am.
All right. Good save, right? So check this out, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
Because you brought it up. Spin up. You want a full...
it's many He-Men.
You want a full screen me, Spin?
Ooh.
Yeah, so check this out. So this is Origins, right?
Yeah.
And Revelation. I reveals the truth. So I'm not collecting Revelation. I don't think I'm collecting Revelation. Here's why these 2 items are here. I'm collecting Origins, and I still have all my figures from when I was a kid. And so these scale with those. Yeah. Which is dope. And so I'm not interested in these because I can't collect everything. But I did really love this show, Revelation. I thought it was great. And so I figured I would pick this up with the intention of returning it unless I take it out, play with it, and I'm like, oh, fuck these Origins figures. This is what I want.
I've had those moments.
Yeah. So I figured, no harm. You can buy it and return it. May as well just check, So what do you think between the 2 of these? Which would you guys pick?
These days, the way I am now, if I was going to get any of these guys, I think I'd get the Origins guys just because they look like better desk toys than the Revelations guys. But that's only because I'm not like a detailed Marvel Legend-esque like collector. That's not the type of thing I'm into, and that's very much that seems like it's marketed to those guys.
And high level articulation is not your thing, because maybe you prefer these guys in that case.
I've heard great things about those.
I got them on clearance, $5.
Well, I guess they didn't do that well then.
I don't think that they did well, and but I don't know why, because they're pretty damn cute. Have you guys? And they make these little mega constructs. Which is it's basically Lego, right? Do you guys have any of these figures? They're doing all kinds of little figures. I bought one that's I think his name is Butch Arnold Schwarzenegger in
Dutch.
Dutch, yeah. Dutch. No, it probably is not that. It's probably Predator.
Yeah.
What's his name in Predator?
Dutch was the Predator guy.
Oh, okay. I was thinking, maybe that's his name in all of the movies. I was thinking
Wouldn't surprise.
But
Let's
yeah.
be honest. Does his name in those movies matter? Do we think of him as a fictional character, or do we think of him as Arnold Schwarzenegger every time he shows up?
What do
Names.
you
names
think,
not
Orlati?
important.
I didn't hear that last part. Sorry.
Is Schwarzenegger basically the same character in every film, or not? Like from Commando to Predator to Terminator or whatever.
We were trying to remember the name of his Predator character, and I was like, "Does it matter?"
Yeah, I would say pretty much all of them are the same, except for maybe Kindergarten Cop.
Right.
It's not a
So
tumor.
Orlati, which of these, if either, would you pick? I'm guessing Origins.
You know what? It's really tough, man, because and I
One's
say
bigger.
this. I know it's bigger and it looks nicer and it looks truer to the cartoons and stuff like that kind of thing, but I still like the OG, man.
Look at this. This is more OG than the OG.
Oh, what's that?
Keldo.
Oh, that's
Oh.
the yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
the original.
Yeah.
So he's got that head, so you can swap him into Skeletor.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So he can become Skeletor.
Or even
And-
what's it called?
Trapjaw.
Yeah, Trapjaw. That's when he was a bounty hunter before he got like busted all up.
So that's pretty dope, right? I don't know why the Trapjaw head is not in there. But
Really?
Obviously they're gonna sell it to you somewhere separately. Yeah, it seems funny. Like,
Oh,
Yeah,
bastards.
I mean,
like because that's like a complete Skeletor.
yeah, you got
Yeah.
the Skeletor there, and then in Trapjaw they're like, it'll come with the next pair. So make sure you buy the next ones.
That's crazy.
Because even on the back it says like, oh, you can replace Skeletor's head. It doesn't say you can replace Trapjaw's head. Weird.
Yeah, because in the origin he was a bounty hunter. I think his brother as well too was involved, and then after that he got busted up. And he became
So,
Trapjaw.
Orlati and Spin. Did you have any Masterpiece figures?
He-Man figures I did.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so that's what I meant to say. Master of the Universe. How big was your collection? What figures did you have?
Ooh. I had you know what? I had Castle Grayskull.
Oh, wow. I
Ooh.
never had Grayskull. That's big, son.
Yeah, but I don't have it anymore.
That's the most famous playset.
Yeah, I had Castle
all toys.
Grayskull. I had He-Man with his Battle Cat. I had Men at Arms. I had Trapjaw.
I agree with David.
Well, what's
I mean,
David saying?
well, okay. Well, now let's say,
Oh, Dutch.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, we can besmirch, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Republican, but we do not dare disrespect Dutch, right? Or
That's not a
whatever his
tumor.
name was in Commando, right? We can respect the
Dutch.
fictional character.
Mr. Commando. That was
Yeah, exactly. Obviously, he ripped it off of some reggae artist anyway. The truly unstoppable Haile Selassie. Over to you guys.
So
Oh,
everything I read takes 3 step back.
Check this out, Spin.
Ooh.
Oh, nice.
I guess of the three of you guys, this Spin is going to be the most interested in these guys.
Oh, yeah.
So, what is the story with these? Do you guys know? Because it's like these are not. I don't think this is an actual retro character. It's like a new figure in the style of like a retro card back.
Yeah. It's weird because they're just trying to like make it look like a vintage line that didn't exist.
Hold
Well,
on,
it worked
the
for me.
Iron Man
Like
is
I bought it only for that reason.
Yeah, but the
Right,
Iron
like, I
Man is vintage in the sense of his origin looks.
Yeah, but there wasn't, when we say vintage, like meaning like this is not a figure and a packet. Like this is like meant to look almost exactly like the packaging that we bought
Right.
as kids.
Right.
Right. This is meant to look like a version of
wannabe.
something that we bought as a kid.
Yeah, I get your point. I understand that, but they did a really good job.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly. That's why. I mean, that's why I bought it. Like, why do
Yeah.
I don't even collect this shit. Why did I'm just like, yo, it's like, oh, I'm a little kid again. I must have it. I asked my dad, and dagnabbit, I was the dad there. So I bought it. God damn it.
Wait, so you're your own grandpa?
Well, we got to channel the ancestors. How
Oh,
else are we
boy.
gonna get through?
Yes.
You gotta only go back 7 generations. Then.
Well, how many generations back are the 13 primes?
That's a good
What do you
question.
Oh, from today's Transformer to all the way back to the 13 primes. Ooh, yeah, I don't know that one.
We're on Children of Primus, right? So you
Yeah,
just said
that's
you can
a
only
good
go back
one.
7 generations. That doesn't seem to make sense with how you named the podcast.
Well, you know, we're gonna have to put David. We're gonna have to give David some homework.
David seems to be about it.
You know?
Faker, He-Man is fire, according to Calvin.
I had
Blue
Faker
guy,
as
yeah.
a kid.
Hold on, wait a minute. Hey, Calvin, did you do your list of music? That was your homework. I did mine. These guys didn't do it. I'm the only one that did it.
Calvin was smoking in the boys' room.
Well, and Karis has, I guess, is shouting out Optimus Prime.
Wow, that's a very noble point of view. He's why we are all here. He's why we have gathered here today and every day that we celebrate the Prime way.
80s all day,
The 80s.
according to Calvin.
This is my
Like seriously, I've always sorry. Let me start again. There's always a question that I've always been asked. If you were able to create a time machine, when would you go back in time? Like what? Like would you go back to high school, college? Whatever? I always say 80s. I just say the 80s. Just give me the 80s and I'll be happy.
It's
Back in the days when I was a teenager, before I had status and before I had a pager. Anthony,
80s would be one time.
what is your review on this?
I
Sorry,
would
that
like
is-
60s and 70s.
Hold on,
just
hold
go back
on.
to the Motown days.
That is the Bumblebee movie Thrust, and
Again
that
with
is-
Thrust, eh?
yeah,
You know,
It's
hold on.
always Thrust.
Wait.
But how can this be Thrust? Why the
Wait.
fuck is Thrust green?
because
Hold
he
on.
was. This is
Hold
a
on.
weird. Yeah,
Wait. Every time when we say thrust, we got to take like a shot or something. That's gonna be like the children of Primus. You know, like what's called children are Primus. What's called drinking game. So every time we mention thrust, you have to take a shot.
I agree. We gotta have pizza in every episode. We gotta have shots in every episode, but it's gotta be shots of Energon.
Okay.
so to answer your question, he's green because they're homaging Transformers Armada, and Thrust was green in that show.
Okay, cool. So and like, I assume you've reviewed this figure. I think maybe even you may have talked about it on the podcast before, but I don't remember. Like, what do you give it out of 10? Should I have bought it? Should I take it back? Will a G1 really? My video is going to be when I open this and throw it up on Children of Primus. The question will be, if a G1er opens and plays with this, will he then like it, or will he be like, "Fuck, this isn't really Thrust. What an insult!"
Oh,
to all
shot.
of us."
It's a good question. I haven't looked at that one specifically. I looked at Blitzwing, which is a heavy.
Yeah, the mold. I'm talking about the
Yeah.
mold.
Well,
Yeah.
Blitzwing was a rip off of Starscream, if you really think about it.
Yeah. So, but I'm asking. I'm asking. A
No, I
specific
get that,
question.
I get that.
Anthony,
Can
what
you-
do you give the mold?
Can you turn the box around again and put it a little bit closer to the camera? Because it looked like a bird for some odd reason in plane mode.
That's a Tetrajet.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's sort of homaging a Tetrajet, as Anthony just said. I think I could change the zoom.
Calvin says that he has both
two
of them.
Right?
Mhm.
I think Calvin's giving decent competition here, right?
He's got 2 of what? Of this mold?
Yeah.
But this is what I'm. But okay, so Calvin,
I'm all
tell
over
me
the
this.
place.
Calvin, tell me this. Or if you, I'm assuming. Actually, I'm not sure, because David is like just said like he's basically our same generation. But Calvin, I don't know if you're a bit younger, or if you're closer in age to Anthony. But my question is, how do you rate this figure? Like, given that I'm somebody who doesn't care about the Michael Bay figures, and Bumblebee movie I liked. But, I like all the figures that homage G1 in the Bumblebee movie. This is not really one of those. Although there's the reference to the Tetrajet. So my question is, will I like this when I open it? Or will I remain a G1er saying, gee, I wonder why they're making anything other than G1, motherfucker? Yeah.
Well, you know the cool thing about this, at least the figure itself is trying to keep a little bit of the G1 in there, because if you look
Mhm.
behind his head, it looks like conish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a conehead. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll give him that. I give them that at least, right? But
Mhm.
it looks like a bird, man. That's about to fly away.
It looks like a bird man, or it looks like a bird man.
Man, it looks like a bird, man.
I was going to say I can't comment on the alt mode because the version I have, Blitzwing, is just a normal fighter jet in his alternate mode. But I will say I did really like the robot mode, and that's mostly preserved there because it very much looks like a G1 design, just like with like mecha bits added to it specifically. So it's one thing I liked about the B movie designs.
You know what that plane reminds me of?
What?
G-Force.
So none of you guys have
Does it look like Mike Spin? Does it look like G4ish? Like G4-ish?
It does.
Does it?
Yeah. Like, you know, the guy that flew the white plane, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what kind of reminds me of that.
I'm not certain.
I'm reading what David just said. So he answered. So he actually answered my question. David, you want to be a consultant for some of these guys here who don't know how to just answer our question?
No, because I'm just looking at the figure right now, not really paying attention, to be honest with you.
You not paying attention? Never.
You should know that by now. Come on.
So David says, open-minded G1er. I appreciate engineering. So I love engineering. Like the more complex it is, the better. And I'm not slavishly, tune accurate, right? So I do appreciate like new versions on, things that hail back to G1. But this last part you said, the alt mode looks goofy. That's a big strike against it because the homage to G1 here is the idea of the Tetrajet. So if Tetrajet fails, then it may have to go back to retail.
Ooh.
Okay, and TF Collect says they're good. TF Collect says
well, Calvin gave it a 7.
Yeah.
Oh, out of 10? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would. So you see, I'd probably return it if it's not a 9 to me.
It's such exacting standards.
Well, exactly because I'm not like, why would I buy this? It doesn't fit any of my lines, and obviously you see
That's
I'm collecting enough lines anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's valid.
TF Collect says he's got the Blitzwing.
Yeah, me too, right? And he's a really great figure, like just on his own, and he's sort of G1ish enough that you could probably fit him with your generations. I don't know about this guy.
He doesn't turn into a Tetrajet.
No, he's from the beginning of the Bumblebee movie, so he just changes into a Earth fighter jet, right?
I for some reason I had it in my I had mixed it up in my head where I only saw the Bumblebee movie once when it came out, but I actually had it mixed up in my head. Like if you would have asked me, I would have said to you that this is the vehicle mode that he looks like in the movie.
No, because it's when Jeep Bumblebee gets to Earth.
I believe you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I misremembered.
Yeah. So that's the thing that I'm like, I can't speak to that alternate mode because when they retooled it, they totally changed what he turned into.
Mm-hmm.
So then
it's worth buying even if you have the Blitzwing.
Yeah, because they really extensively changed the tooling. Like it's almost all new parts.
What does David say about the Tetrajet?
And David says, "I get the Tetrajet, but that mode was done better in recent ones that were released." Right.
So we just have recently talked about those Siege Seekers, right? And those are pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're really good.
Anthony, did you say you liked them? But you said you liked the actual Earth mode jets better than those Tetrajets, yeah?
Oh yeah. But it was definitely a matter of like these are both good. I just kind of prefer the Earth mode ones.
Sure. It's the classic.
Yeah.
Okay, 3 minutes and we will jump into the topic. Sorry to interrupt.
I was going to say I admired the Tetrajets mostly for trying something unique. I thought the Earth mode ones turned out better, but it depends on what you value, right?
Mm-hmm. TF Collect says, I don't have Thrust because I don't feel he's a major part of the film. I've got Optimus, B, Blitzwing, Shatter, and Dropkick only.
Yeah, that's almost entirely my collection, except add Cliffjumper and Optimus to that.
So, what is the topic for the night? Inquiring minds want to know. DJ Spinister.
Tonight's topic is about Transformers tech specs. Actually, let me see if I can bring up the main image of that here. Especially since, for the last few weeks, like we've always kind of jumped back and forth between speaking about tech specs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really think we should try to put together that app that we were talking about, or minimally, right. You know what? Actually, a sooner thing that we could do, within a few weeks, is assemble the tech specs and put them on the Children of Primus website.
Right.
I have some opinions on that.
Well, go ahead and tell us. And Orlati, did you say that you still have? You can answer after Anthony. Did you say that you still have your tech specs?
No, I used to, but I don't anymore. They got thrown away. This, you know what? I'm going to correct myself. That Thrust. Take a shot, people. That's what it reminds me of. Battlestar Galactica playing.
Oh yeah, Viper.
Okay, that's what you meant instead of G-Force. Yeah, because when I was thinking about G-Force, I'm like, nah, they don't fight in vehicles, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're standing on top of each other and spinning around.
For some odd reason, and then it just popped into my head, right? So, all right, I want to show.
What is it? What is it actually from?
Battlestar Galactica. No. Say that 5 times on the list.
and after a couple cubes of Energon.
There you go. I wouldn't mind seeing Transformer doing a crossover with that. With an airplane like that.
It'd be a good idea for a design.
Yeah, it actually has Jetfire's colors too.
With what?
It actually has Jetfire colors, like the white and red.
No, I said you'd rather do what with what?
Oh, I was just saying it would be nice for Transformers to do a crossover with Battlestar Galactica with airplanes.
Yeah, so it seems like a natural fit. Yeah, I agree.
All right, let me go into. Of course, we're going to do the very first.
Excellent.
Yes.
Ooh.
But this image here, I saw this one. But this is not the actual tech spec. This is the information from the tech spec.
Yep. This is information from the tech spec. So it's we're mainly going by their bios. And I mean, this does have the information of the the actual tech spec.
Yeah.
So as we start off with Optimus Prime, Autobot Commander, the freedom is the right of all sentient beings. And has his bio says Optimus Prime is the largest, strongest, and wisest of all Autobots. Now, I mean, I'm guessing that was at the time of writing this, considering they didn't have Combiners, Omega, or anyone else that were released. Yeah, or Jetfire.
Shockwave.
There was only the 18 original Autobots. Autobots.
And it says his. I believe it was 18.
Yeah.
And it feels his role is the protection of all life, including Earth life, and fights unseemly to defeat the Decepticons.
Incessantly?
Sorry?
Fights unceasingly. Sorry.
Unceasingly to defeat the Decepticons. Splits into 3 autonomous modules: Optimus Prime, which is the brain center known as the Commander; Roller, the Autobot scouting car, the spy who operates 1,200 miles away; and Autobot headquarters. What's interesting is in the comic book version of the bio, they do mention that the trailer is Prime and the robot's Optimus. The one detail that was only referenced, I believe, once by Ratchet in the cartoon.
I don't recall that. The only thing that I recall as a kid is like, where did that trailer go?
Which is still the answer, the question to this day.
Yeah, there's some good videos in theory on that.
Oh, speaking of cops, I got my donut and coffee just to let everybody know.
Nice. I've got my tech spec red going on for you.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Good job, Spinister. Boom. All right, we just leveled up one.
Roxanne.
I got now the background of a tech spec. You got the decoder. I think we're ready to roll.
Oh, I got my coffee and donut. Cops, right? Come on.
The red Tims.
How does that one song about Ice-T go?
I thought you were talking about from the police. Roxanne, you don't have to put on the red light
from the police, or fuck the police, or I'm a motherfucking cop killer. Better you
boy.
me.
Wow, that just killed that just killed our video on YouTube right there. So
I know your family breathing. Cop killer.
Hey, in that case,
but
why don't
tonight we get even.
Why don't we bring up Prowl?
Oh yeah.
okay, hold on. Wait a
I was
minute.
thinking Galvatron.
Wait a minute. Did we finish with Prime? Was it Optimus Prime?
His three multi-component thing that was never acknowledged anywhere.
You went through it too fast. Like, you got to read it, and then we got to comment. Everybody has to put a short comment on it.
So
right.
my whole thing is, where did the trailer go?
Subspace.
Okay. Hold on? Did it go into Swindle's chest?
Swindle.
Yeah,
It went into the same technology that Swindle's chest used.
Okay.
It was magic.
I don't get that, but here's the real answer. If you want to know the real answer, it's the same. Where it goes. The answer is the same as how do Transformers mass shift, and that's because they're higher dimensional beings. So us being only 3-dimensional beings, any being which is on higher dimensions, when they're traveling through our space, we only see a limited set of their dimensions. So for them to get smaller or disappear, all they have to do, it's kind of like, turning a paper. Let's say you're holding up a piece of paper, you're looking at it straight. It's 8 by 10, but you turn it, and that's a 2-dimensional space almost. You turn it on its side, and you try to look at the side of the paper, virtually disappears. That's exactly how Transformers shrink, and that's how Prime makes his trailer disappear. Bada boom, bada.
There you go.
And then Roller, I guess that's how Roller scouts as well too, by disappearing.
Popping in and
I think he just got blown up early in the series, and they didn't want to tell us that he died.
Oh, Roller survived.
Yeah,
that's what they want you to think.
Yeah.
Why do you say that, Spin? What evidence do you have?
He shows up after.
Yeah, how do you know that's really him? You don't think they could just whip up a little drone that looks like Rover? Motherfucker died like that time when Prime rolled down the hill.
Yeah, and he showed up after.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, like, come on, how do you believe that? Like, he never transformed, never talked. You never saw him like get hit with a pickaxe, and then Optimus Prime says, "Ow, my shoulder."
So then what you're trying to say is the Roller that came out of the mountain after was actually a Decepticon spy, and they never followed through on that storyline.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's going to be my next question. So what
could be a tape?
That was going to be my next question. So if Optimus Prime, or the figure himself, the robot figure, passes away, what happens to Roller in the trailer?
Well, actually, in his bio, injury to one module is felt by the other two.
Oh.
I was assuming you understood that. That's why, like, when I said, when I'm saying we never saw that happen. So Spin, I'm telling you, like, even though, you saw something that looked like Roller, isn't it weird? Like, every time, Taymot and Zomax show up, one of them gets smacked, you see it hurts the other one. right? So Optimus Prime, you never all of a sudden just see him complaining about a pain in his elbow. So that's because the real Roller died long ago.
Therefore, Optimus Prime should have died too. Then.
No, it just says he feels the pain. It doesn't say they die.
Now, okay. So if Roller is going over like trenches and all that kind of stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and he's going over like a ramp and he's jumping and all that. Does that mean Optimus Prime is jumping up and down like the two twins in G.I. Joe?
There's a good question. Like, because like, do they actually move or does he just feel the pain? That's a good question.
Well, how much more do we want to jump in for Optimus, or do we move on to another character?
I don't think Fear or Courage gave his comment, or did he?
Well, I was going to say it was just interesting that they didn't do and it's a common thread throughout these tech specs. Ideas like his multi-brain, like multi-body setup were never really followed through on fiction, so they just sort of only exist in the realm of these bios.
That's because the bios were like original material that Rudiansky and his friends made up, versus everything else is stolen from the Black Man, Max Romeo.
Right.
So that's why it's discordant. Obviously. Let's go to the next one.
Yeah.
All right.
On that note.
Yes. Let's jump to Prowl.
Hold on. You know what we need to do if we're going to be using this website, we got to shout these guys out. Like they did a great job, copying and pasting, or typing out all this stuff. So this is a pretty dope resource they have here.
So Nordic Trans Fans Association.
Yeah, can you state the website for everybody?
It's ntfa.net is where we're referencing the tech specs from for this evening's show of the Frenzy Freestyle Sunday on Children of Primus.
Brought to you by NTFA.
How appropriate that we're going next to Prowl. Maybe I should offer him a donut and a coffee too.
This is interesting because even before reading it, I'm like, Prowl's a character that barely appeared in both the cartoon and the comics, and then a million years later, IDW would do stuff with him that wrote him completely differently. So this is like a unique bio.
Okay.
Right up there in intelligence.
Yeah, so why don't we start? Why don't we do this as we go through them? The way Spin sort of set it off is like, let's have him read the thing first, and then each of us give our comment on it.
All right. Prowl Autobot, military strategist, where logic is the ultimate weapon. Prowl will keep at a task for as long as it takes, strive to find reason and logic in everything. A listener, not a talker, has the most sophisticated logic center of all Autobots, able to analyze and advise on complex combat situations almost instantaneously, fires wild guided incendiary missiles and high corrosive acid pellets. The unexpected can often scramble his circuits.
Huh.
Would you?
So I never had Prowl, and so I've never read this bio. This is a dope bio.
Yeah, I was about to say, would you call him the opposite of Shockwave? Like,
almost
the
counterpart.
Yeah, sorry, thank you. The counterpart of Shockwave?
Yeah.
Because you would never notice that in the cartoon.
Security, right? Security specialist. It makes perfect sense.
Now I'm just like, maybe he didn't get a lot of lines on the show because he was a listener and not a talker.
That's true.
Sounds a little bit like Spin. Like maybe Spin is like the most of the four of us. He's most like Prowl, which we didn't even notice.
Because look what it
so
says.
You're a cop too.
Yes. Oh, he has his lights on. He has the cherries on.
Yep.
Because look what it says. Logic is the ultimate weapon. You know what? For me, that's more of a Shockwave statement there. I'm shocked.
Well, it's a certain there's a handful of Transformers that are like that, right?
I think we should go to Shockwave next, just to see.
I was just going to say, let's see what Shockwave says.
Yeah, is he more like the cartoon or more like the Marvel comic? Because those were very different things.
My man.
All
You
right.
know what's interesting? Fear or courage. What you just said about like, we often talk about, it's commonly known the difference that there's a significant difference between the character of Shockwave and those two pieces of fiction.
Yes.
But what I will conjecture now for you heard it here first on Children of Primus, and you guys comment, see if you agree. Maybe this most recent trilogy, Earthrise Kingdom, Shockwave is in between both of those characters. He like merges the Marvel and the G1 character of Shockwave. What do you guys think?
That would make sense. Most modern depictions like that try and do that specifically.
I think that's probably more in TF Prime.
What is more in TF Prime?
Merging of the Marvel and the cartoon. Because
Okay,
when
when
Shockwave walked around, like he for a smaller guy, he carried presence and he carried some fear.
Yeah.
I never thought of Shockwave as a smaller guy.
Well, in the cartoon, he's actually a smaller guy.
Yeah. Well, we all right. We're unanimous that the real Shockwave is the Marvel
Yes.
Shockwave.
Yeah.
Or that
comic.
like that's his essential side, and he shows this other side's deferential, logical side as a ruse to fool Megatron.
Yeah, possibly.
But I like to go into his backstory because he has an interesting backstory.
Oh, let's see. We didn't read it. We're supposed to.
Yeah, we got to read it. Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, let's read it.
Yep. All right. That's Shockwave, Decepticon Military Operations Commander. Clarity of thought before rashness of action.
Ain't that the same thing?
Good job. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, good connection, Orlati.
Cold, brutal, scientific approach to war. Seeks to overthrow Megatron as leader of Decepticons because he believes logic says he would be better. And as a laser gun, can emit lethal beams of energy from anywhere on the electromagnetic spectrum, gamma rays, X-rays, light, infrared rays, radio waves, etc.
What about gravitational waves? Those are not on the electromagnetic spectrum. Sorry, dude.
There you go. It flies in laser gun or robot mode, high fuel use, but can be powered by nuclear sources. Often confounded by I'm stuck on this word.
Initiative.
Often confounded by initiative and emotional thinking.
Wow, you had it on the nose. That really is just the same as Prowl, but evil.
Just meaner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is directly, like, no compromise. It's directly the Marvel character of Shockwave.
Yeah. Because he sought to overthrow it.
Yeah, and I'm looking at
it. And also the reasoning why. Not just that he's overthrowing Megatron, but he's like, look, you're not being logical enough. He's what you call, in political theory, he's a technocrat. Right? He believes like everything just has to be run through an algorithm, and that's how you're gonna, everything else is bullshit.
If I'm looking at his tech spec, and I only really see one thing that he has more than Prowl is the intelligence, where he's at number 10, and Prowl's at 9.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
good.
Shots fired.
That's called looking close. I like that. Yeah. Good observation.
So
he's like, my brain is slightly bigger than yours, Prowl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's why don't we jump to Megatron?
The best. The most dangerous.
Most dangerous.
Well, they were the same guy.
ooh, look at his speed, eh? I would never expect his speed to be that low.
Oh, he's a slow glacier of a bruiser.
Yeah, well, he wins in the arena. He doesn't run. He's not a runner.
Yeah.
I thought he'd be a lot faster than that if you really think about it. Because
he's a gun. He transforms into a gun and then he just lays there until someone picks him up.
It should be faster than a spinning bullet. But Michael, go ahead, please.
All right,
His speed is just basically walking. Sorry, go ahead.
That's true. Megatron, Decepticon leader, peace through tyranny. Megatron combines brute strength, military cunning, ruthlessness, and terror. Aches to return to Cybertron to complete the Decepticon conquest, but only after destroying all Autobots on Earth. Plans to possess all of Earth's resources. Incredibly powerful and intelligent. Fires particle beam cannon. Can link up to dimensionality to a black hole and draw antimatter from it for use as a weapon. No known weakness.
I never heard of that.
Yeah.
I never seen that. I never heard of that.
You never
Few
knew
people
that he
have
had
referenced
no
that.
weakness?
Yeah.
No, the antimatter as a weapon.
Mhm.
They brought
that's gonna
that
be
back
my
in
first-
Lost Light as a shout out.
Wow.
Yeah, like few
I'm glad we
people
all
have
know how to
referenced
like
that.
be silent at the same time, given that we all want to talk at the same time.
No, because I think all of us are shocked. Well, I'm
No,
shocked
exactly.
about
No, we're excited about it. Like this is funny
Yeah,
though.
the
Like
antimatter
I
part.
think we should. I think we'll up and come again, my selector. Like we got to hear that. Yeah, just read it again from the beginning. It was so dope.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Megatron combines brute strength, military cunning, ruthlessness, and terror. Aches to return to Cybertron to complete the Decepticon conquest, but only after destroying all Autobots on Earth. Plans to possess all of Earth's resources. Incredibly powerful and intelligent. Fires particle beam cannon. Can link up interdimensionally to a black hole and draw antimatter from it for use as a weapon. No known weaknesses.
Okay, so the one thing I want to say here is, remember what when I was explaining to you guys of where the trailer goes and how mass shifting works. And so it's saying right here that he's able to reach into different dimensions. So that's exactly what I just had been saying to you. Yet obviously I read this as a kid, but I did not remember this at all. So it's so awesome. We'll have to do some more like black hole
Theory.
We'll have to dig into the fiction and develop those ideas of like what would that really mean if he can pull power from a black hole. And we can use information like the stuff that we today know about black holes is so much more advanced than was known in the 80s.
I was gonna say, they brought that back in one of the final arcs of More Than Meets the Eye, the IDW comic with Autobot Megatron, when it was revealed that he still had that ability and he used it at a climactic moment.
Mikey sure
Nice.
Yeah, like pulling antimatter from a black hole.
You said Transformers Prime?
No, More Than Meets the Eye. Yeah, there it is. They brought that ability back for More Than Meets the Eye. He was pissed off because let me tell you, he'd been trying to be an Autobot and be good, and then the Decepticon Justice Division came for him and wrecked it, and he got mad, and he was like, "I'm gonna start destroying everyone with antimatter." This was a moment, I'll tell you what. You see the dialogue? He was like, "I was at peace. I was happy."
So this was a comic book.
Yeah.
That was a really good comic book. I didn't see this part, but I was reading a little bit about him and the Decepticon Justice Piece, and they're going at each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because
Decepticon Justice Division. So Anthony, I would love it if you would like send me a link, or any of you guys to send me a link to if this comic is available online. I'd love to read this.
Oh, it's a good comic book series.
It's very long and there's a lot of tie-ins, so it's not a quick task. And like they wrote it like it was seasons of a TV show. Megatron doesn't come in until the second season, basically.
Love it. That's the kind of stuff we like.
Yeah.
Yeah, like wow, I never thought of that. That's the first time kind of thinking about that. Like he's using antimatter.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. James Roberts and Nick Roche were two. They loved their obscure polls, so they would absolutely do stuff like that all the time and just reference things that don't get brought up a lot. Oh, Cosmos.
Yes.
Aha! And we're gonna meet the voice of Cosmos next month, are we not? Right here on childreofprimus.com.
That is correct. Cosmos, Autobot Reconnaissance and Communications. Reach for the stars, but never leave your friends. Lonely in outer space, relieves boredom by scaring humans by hovering over their backyards at night or zigzagging through meteor showers. Can achieve Earth orbit, even go to the moon and back with enough fuel. Acts as communication satellite, optical sensors can see a bicycle at 600 miles. Has pinpoint accuracy, high-powered particle beam. Not well suited to function on ground as robot.
What a jerk.
And what is his speed? Okay, he's
10.
fast. He's fast,
super fast.
But that's not when he's walking around on Earth.
No, he's flying.
Yeah. That's dope.
Just
Look at his strengths. He only has a 2. Wow.
They just like.
Well, it's a good thing that he doesn't have to duke it out with Megatron if they're standing around.
Right.
He'll... You know what he kind of looks like in this picture? You know that you know when you're looking for service and you hit the little bell?
Wow.
That's the top of the head looks like.
You hit the bell? I don't get it.
You never gone to like a desk and there's like a little bell and you're looking for service?
Oh yeah. I get it.
Right?
Yeah.
That's what he looks like.
That's true. That is so true.
Yeah, let's pick a Decepticon cassette.
I just wanted to say I love how his bio contains a vivid reference to an activity we never once saw him do.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I'm like, that's after reading his bio, and I'm like, it's too bad that personality didn't translate into the cartoon.
Yeah.
Okay, now is this Frenzy or Rumble?
Good old debate.
You know what I mean?
This is the toys, so that is Rumble, because that is the original plan. So that's what you go with in this context.
So Rumble,
if we had, sorry, Mikey, if someone's commenting right now, they're like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. Go ahead, Michael.
So Rumble, Decepticon demolitions. Destroy what's below and what's above will follow. Rumble is your
I
basic
remember that one.
street
That's
punk.
good.
Small but always acting tough. Quick temper and mean disposition. Follows Megatron's orders eagerly. Transmits immense low-frequency ground waves to create powerful earthquakes. His small size limits his physical strength, but his ability to shatter the ground makes him difficult to approach in a fight.
See, I don't get that, because if you look at his strengths, I think that should be like way higher up, at least a 7 or 8.
Yeah, I think that didn't translate as well, because, I mean, between Rumble and Frenzy fighting with the Seekers, they tossed the Seeker across a room.
Yeah.
So, like, you can't do that with a 2.
That's like Superman, rolling for Batman, when he punches him.
Well, look at that one episode when they found Jetfire, right? And who was it? Skyrope was making fun of Rumble. Goes, "Oh, that ice too hard for you?" And the next minute is, "Oh yeah, I'll show you." And he cracks everything after.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really surprised about his strengths being that low. I think should be much higher. Even his speed as well too should be much higher.
I think that you're like referencing, sort of cherry picking the times when the cartoon over exaggerated their strength, as opposed to remember like he punches Spike and
I was just
knocks out Spike like
right.
he's way stronger than a human, right? He just it's not like Spike can fight him, but it's also not like if when he just slaps his arm, it doesn't knock off Spike's head.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fact that Spike survived that actually points to him
cartoon.
being on the weaker side. Yeah,
It's a cartoon, and I don't think they wanted to show heads flying off of human, head flying off of a human body, right?
But the point is, look at this. His small size limits his physical strength, but what he does, by using his pile drivers, he's able to create vibrations that that have energetic consequences that release energy, which is power, right, at a far greater capacity than his regular physical form.
Right, and where did that power originated from?
Well, this is the point. Just like Bruce Lee is 130 pounds, and he could do the 1-inch punch, right? So it's all about how you vibrate that gives you the power, right? E equals mc squared. There's two ways, or actually F equals ma, sorry, is what I'm trying to say, right? Force equals mass times acceleration.
Yes.
So even if you have a small mass, you can hit with more power than a large mass if you move substantially faster.
I mean that and
okay, so I understand what you're saying, but then look at his speed.
Yeah, but that's in locomotion. That's what that means is locomotion. It's not how fast his pile drivers go.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're looking at his overall, right?
No, I don't think so. I think when they were writing this, I mean, I could be wrong. You know, you guys tell me what you think. I think when they were writing this, like they had these specific things in mind. Like if you look at, you know, the speed across the different tech specs, as we'll do, it seems pretty clear that they're referencing the alt modes. And then if they don't have an alt mode that's a vehicle, then their speed is like 1 or 2.
That sounds
and it
correct
applies
to
to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, but then again, you can.
Well,
you know what? It's logical what you're saying. You know, it's hard to argue what you're saying. But then when you look at components, like for example, when he's, you know, his arms turns into a op mode of those power drivers, they're going super fast, right? So I'm just saying, there could be an
But that's not what is meant here. Obviously, that's not what is meant here.
I don't know, because if you look at his firepower, it's 9.
So exactly. I mean, so that's the weapon.
But think about you know, Rumble walking beside Omega Supreme, whereas like even Omega Supreme, if his speed was 2 at walking, it's still considerably faster than Frenzy. Like what, you know, like in terms of size wise. So it's he is the smallest, so he is going to have a smaller. He's going to have a smaller, you know, step and speed.
So are you saying because of his size? Is that what you're saying? Okay, then let's go to. Oh my
Dude,
God.
it's because of his alt mode. It's because what speed 2 means is he can only walk or get carried.
Okay, go to Ravage then.
Excellent. Okay, that's an excellent suggestion.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
Like I understand what you're
What did I tell you?
Look at his speed.
5.
I thought you had changed. Yeah.
And look at his strengths.
Orlati, look, this makes perfect sense because, like, how fast can a big cat run? About twice as fast as a human. About twice as, or let me say it this way: a quadruped. Can we talk one at a time, guys? Take turns, okay? A quadruped, like you're always commenting on what I'm saying without listening to my comment first. So a quadruped is twice as fast as a biped. So that's what I think is reflected here. Agree or not agree? I'm talking about the evidence, not, you know, what does the evidence show? Over to you.
I'm not going to disagree with what you just said right now about the I can't even pronounce the word, quadruped versus a biped.
Biped, yeah, exactly.
Biped. I'm not gonna. I can't disagree because there's evidence out there, like a cheetah, right? So I can't argue with that point, right? But I'm just going based on, if you look at his speed, okay, fine, he's using his legs as speed, right? Okay, yes. But when Rumble is using his power driver, isn't that speed as well too? Wouldn't that be equivalent to that then?
I mean, I already answered. I don't know why.
No, but I'm just saying, like, you know, like I understand your point, but I'm just bringing that up in a sense of okay, yeah, 4 legs.
Of course, the pile drivers are moving faster than feet. Of course, they're moving faster than feet.
Okay, so
but they're not moving him though.
Exactly. This is locomotion. The speed means locomotion. It doesn't mean how fast does one of your circuits or one of your weapons oscillate.
I don't know. I don't know. You know what? If I had to rewrite this, I'd probably rewrite it just a little bit differently. I understand it was back in the 80s, but
basically you're calling Bob Budiansky a punk. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think he had too many shrooms.
Starting beef.
And that was the state that he had to, you know, that sort of psychedelic state,
right?
Is when he thought you may as well just rip off Max Romeo.
There you go.
So
Next.
if you look at his strengths, he has a 5, right? Is his strengths because why? Because he has a jaw that bites very hard.
Well, yes, jaws and claws.
And jaws and claws. So you're right. So a jackhammer is just not as strong.
It's not.
Don't start. I like just really listen to what I'm trying to say.
I'm listening, but you are like you already said that. You're like what you're saying is you're correct, but it just is like that doesn't count. Like that's inadmissible in the court. It's clear, right? You're saying like, look, I have an item, sir. You're telling me I'm not fast, but I have brought with me today a gun that fires photons at the speed of light because they're photons. So therefore, why don't you say I travel at the speed of light? And the answer is because your legs are not your gun.
I get your point saying I am not the gun, so I cannot go at speed as light as the gun that's shooting out the bullet or the what? Photon. Thank you. I get that.
We're in the future, guys.
I get that point. I understand what you're saying in that aspect, but little jackhammers are part of him. It is him. It is his arms, right?
You know what the okay? Maybe this is.
It's not like he took jackhammers.
Means. Do you know what the word locomotion means?
Yes, I know what locomotion means, but what I'm saying to you is that it's not like he picked up an additional piece to put onto his arm. That's what I'm trying to say. Man, you gotta listen too, man. I got one good year.
You could be the fastest. You could be, you could be, Rung. For all we know, the psychiatrist Rung, who clearly you need to go see. For all we know, he may be the transformer that masturbates faster than any other rapper, any other transformer masturbates. Okay, but that doesn't mean that he's the fastest. Just because his hand, which is attached to him, the same way that the fucking pile driver is attached to Rumble, it doesn't. That's got nothing to do with his
going back to what you said
run.
about the gun, but not being part of me because they're two separate things. What I'm trying to say to you, his power drivers are him. So it is part of him. It is him. It's not like a piece of equipment that he picked up and he put it on.
It's not a fun debate if you don't listen to the words that your opponent says. It's not a fun debate if you just say the same thing over and over.
No, I'm not saying the same thing.
Pylons fast. I already agreed the pylons are fast. Just like Rung's fingers are extremely fast when he plays whatever instrument he learned to play at the Liberal Arts Academy of Cybertron. But just because he has the fastest fingers to figure of speech, that doesn't make him the fastest transformer. Case closed. Let's move on. Locomotion. With a locomotive.
Yes. Well, let's move on. So
Ravage take you into the intergalactic ocean.
You know what? I hope our commentators are listening to what we're saying. And please post your opinion.
Post in the comments that Orlandi doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
And please understand that I'm not, talking about one specific thing. I'm just saying overall. Thank you.
I'm putting forward a motion that this is loco.
Okay, I gotta go. So, but anyway, let's test this theory.
Okay, let's go. Next.
No,
Mike,
listen.
Next.
Just hold on. You can go to the next one. But so, let's see how consistent this is when we see other tech specs for transformers that don't have vehicle modes when they transform. Let's see if all of them, if they're bipeds, they always have speed 2. And if they're quadrupeds, they have slightly faster speed, but not the speed of vehicles. Let's see if that turns out to be consistent on the tech specs.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
All right, so let's read Ravage, and then we'll find other tech specs that kind of falls into those details. So Ravage, Decepticons Saboteur. Today's Autobots are tomorrow's scrap metal. Ravage operates best alone, a creature of the night. Craftiest of all Decepticons, adept at devising deadly new strategies, remains aloof from others, but his deeds command their respect. can
Jesus.
virtually escape the detection, emits an electromagnetic emission shield, has a soundless walk, disappears in subdued light or shadow.
Damn, son.
Carries two powerful
he's the
heat-seeking
Transformers
missiles.
Why
Snake
is
Eyes.
everybody talking at the same time?
He's Snake Eyes of the Transformers.
This is true. Light sensitive, can be blinded.
It was like, aside from that ending where he's like, oh, he's sensitive to light, everything in this was like raw as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe he should lead the Decepticons.
Didn't Rat Bat want to do that?
Yeah,
he was a senator, right?
He was a fuel specialist. He was a like an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
Those damn accountants.
Don't account for shit.
All right, who's next?
You know what? Let me
Yeah, Ravenclaw.
Oh, check out Pounce.
Yeah.
No, click on Pounce. Click on Pounce.
No, Ravenclaw is just as good.
Where is he? There we go.
Yeah,
Pounce.
just to like look at the speed, right? Because Pounce is also a cat, right?
Yes.
Speed is 4.
Look at that. Look at that.
What was? Well, hold on. And what was Ravage speed?
5.
Was it 5? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so basically walking is, 1, 2, 3, and like that's biped walking. And then quadruped walking is like 4 or 5.
I'll be right back.
If you're walking, you get 1 or 2. Otherwise, you get 4 or 5. I wonder if we can check that in the predacons.
So go to a predacon?
Yeah, like because predacons we have some that are quadrupeds also. So we'll see if their speed remains 4 or 5.
Well, let's see. Well,
Rampage.
yeah, not
Rampage is right
pedicring.
under. It's all alphabetical.
Yeah.
All right. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Place your bets. Look at that.
Right.
My theory has been confirmed. Come on, we can draw a graph now. We got 3 points. This has been scientifically established.
Well, as TF Collect says, I agree. There should be combat/hand speed and locomotive speed.
Okay, there you go. So we can all agree with TF Collect, and that's sort of the answer to what Orlati was trying to hold on to, even though he couldn't articulate himself in terms of logic. The sentiment that he's trying to express, TF Collect has stated in a way that we can all agree, right? So the tech specs are showing only these specific things, but we all know you can't reduce any great Autobot or Decepticon to these categories alone. And I think where Orlati was really coming from is to point that out, is like, just because Ravage is technically a 2 in strength, like you can't consider him a 2 in strength because of what he can do.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that makes sense. And that's basically what TF Collect is saying too, right? Like, there's so many other factors that make you a great warrior or strategist or somebody who sucks even though you got all this power. Right.
Well, this is an interesting, again, yeah, like I never knew this about him. So let's go Rampage, Decepticon, subgroup Predacon, Function Gunner. Those who conquer act, those who are conquered think. Barrels through life with barrels through life with an uncontrolled fury. Has difficulty talking coherently for more than a few seconds before violently lashing out at
this is
anything
Orlati.
near
This
him.
is Orlati right here.
Friend or foe, TV calms him, stares at rock music videos for hours.
Yo, these are so good. These
Yeah,
are like an intellectual level way higher than the G1 cartoon.
Yeah.
Or or the Marvel series, really.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even though it's the same author, it seems like he may have had to dumb it down a bit.
Yeah,
well,
that's
a matter of.
I really enjoyed the tech specs. Like when you really sit down and read through them, like there's some interesting things going on with every character.
Like the Marvel comics in particular, there was no way, given the amount of characters and the page count and the release schedule, that they would have time to ever dive into any of this to begin with.
Right.
I don't know. Robotech.
That was a show.
Aren't we comparing it to the G1 cartoon?
Well, I was just talking about the Marvel comics, which were also written by Budiansky, who was also writing the bios at the same time.
Okay, but don't you get more words in a comic than you do in a 22-minute cartoon? I'm actually not sure.
No, I think it would be the other way around, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, you get a chance to really build on the characters and storylines in the comics than the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a question for our viewers. If you're watching this live or if you watch it afterwards, tell us in the comments if you still have any if you have any tech specs, whether that's from the 80s or if you collected them since then, and if so, how do you organize them and or display them?
Yeah, I mean, I consider it a great tragedy that modern figures don't come with these. The last golden era of tech specs to me as a more modern collector would have been the first two Bay movies. Both of them had toy lines that continued after the movie, and both of them used the tech specs that came with those characters to tell little mini stories about what was happening in between the movies. Like they managed to spin a whole little narrative out of that. And so that to me was like the best era of that stuff. Like Jazz died in the first one, but they put out some more toys of him. So they had bios that were like the Allspark energy from when it was destroyed saved him, and then Ratchet rebuilt him. So now he's alive again, and he's off having these adventures and stuff like that.
Got it.
Cool.
All right. So the rest of Rampage, as Tiger can leap 300 feet in height, can leap 300 feet in height, 500 feet in length. A kick from his foreleg can crumble a cinder block wall, as Robot carries 60,000 volt lightning rifle, a 5,000 degree thermal sword, and combines with fellow Predacons to form Predaking.
Pretty dope.
You know what? Let's pick. Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna ask you guys, like, did you guys have the Predacons? I think everybody loves the Predacons. And I'm just pulling up a picture right now. I'm going to put on screen of the Kang Toys Predacons. I want to see what you guys think of them. Over to you. So, am I right? Did any of you guys have Predacons?
Oh, I never had the Predacons. No, I mean, aside from them being after my time, I didn't have the new ones either. But that's just because I don't get like Titan class stuff, and the last ones they did were Titan.
Okay, I had all of the original. I had all 5 of the originals.
Well,
I did.
Rampage's speed was what? Was it 5?
Sorry for.
Yeah, it was 5.
Mm-hmm.
No, I had them, but remember I said a while ago I lost a box and Predaking was in that box.
Damn. So have you guys seen these new Kang Toys Predacons?
No. Can you blow that up?
Yeah, can you full screen me?
Oh wow, that's nice.
Yeah. These are pretty well reviewed figures. And
It's very Zoids.
Yeah.
What is Zoids?
Power Rangers.
Well, no, it's like it's another Japanese robot franchise. It's like a model kits that are motorized. They were
that's
big
from the 80s.
Yeah, but it looks like Power Rangers.
Yeah, they still make them though. But yeah, it just makes me think of a Zoids character. Like nothing in particular, just the aesthetic.
Reminds me of that image reminds me of He-Man's Battle Cat.
Yeah,
yeah.
Ooh, nice. Now that would be a dope crossover.
Yep.
If this guy was green, right?
Hey, third parties don't care about licensing rights, so they could just release a Battle Cat repaint if they wanted to.
Yep.
And that would be pioneering in third party. Like, has third party ever done anything like that? Oh yeah, they did. They did. The Lewin Resources, they did a Captain America Optimus Prime.
Yeah, like I want to say there's been other ones too. They don't immediately come to mind, but it's crossovers have been done. I think like unofficial
by
ones.
third party though, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but I can think of more examples than that.
But I love that idea. Who said that? Was that Orlati? Did you say that like he looks like
No, that
Malachi?
was Spin.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
one-
Spin.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, man. So I didn't buy these, even though they're not all out yet. I think maybe 4 of them are out, and they're also doing this is Masterpiece scale, and the same company is doing a downscaled Legends versions.
Oh, that looks really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. And so, I mean, this is really cool, right? Because this is like not trying to give you another version of the figure that is trying again to look exactly like the cartoon. But this is, they're reimagining the character, but yet trying to be true to the essence, right? Of another way of conceptualizing these characters, that we watched on the cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
This is what I was talking
well,
about the Power Rangers. I don't know if Mike wants to blow it up after we're done with this.
Yeah, we can move on.
I was going to say, what's the height of that predacon?
I think that these guys are tall. So I think they're almost the same size as a Masterpiece Seeker.
Oh wow!
And
Yeah,
then
so
so these are the biggest Predacons that have ever been made. And
so I mean, imagine the height of Predaking then.
Exactly. I think it's going to scale. The idea is that it's going to scale with all the modern MP figures, the Zeta toys,
Like a Metroplex
Toy World. Yeah.
So
Maybe
this is what I was
just
talking
slightly
about here.
shorter than the Metroplex.
Oh, okay. This is what I was talking about, like the Power Rangers, right? That's what.
Oh, yeah,
that reminded me of.
That's funny. Yeah. It does look like a sophisticated version of that too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Funny.
Hey, Power Rangers has good mecha designs sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Next tech spec.
Next
Yeah,
tech
yeah.
spec.
We probably. I mean, we're not going to do all of them, right? So
No.
why don't we play like, let's.
I know because I gotta wrap it up soon because I'm.
Yeah.
I'm
So
at-
why don't
I'm
we
at
say
work.
all of us get to choose 2 names to call out, and we'll look at those tech specs.
Oh, I gotta shout out to Hot Rod, my favorite. Hot Rod and Hubcap. Those are my 2 favorites. Hot
Okay,
Rod's
cool.
my favorite A-lister. Hubcap's my favorite Z-lister. So one or the other.
No, well, let's
All
see
right.
if we can. So we'll each name 2, and then those will be the 6 that we'll look at for this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So you've named yours. Orlati, do you want to?
No, you know what? Because we did Shockwave and Prowl as well too, which I kind of
Yes.
like both, right?
You got yours, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So I'm going to call Omega Supreme,
Hmm.
and I'm going to think about my second one. What about you, Spin?
I'll pick Jazz, but I'll also pick Fortress Maximus, which was a suggestion from Jamal from one of the Transformers groups.
Oh, nice.
Cool. So
Yeah.
and my second pick will be Thundercracker.
And also to mention the Prowl that we did earlier, he was a suggestion from Mark from another Transformers group.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Big up, Mark.
Yep. And MJ, which was from another Transformers group, had also suggested Optimus Prime, which was our first one.
Yeah. Set the tone right.
All right. So should we do Runabout or jump into our suggestions?
Oh, let's do Runabout. You got him up there. Let's do them.
All right. Runabout, Decepticon.
Let's try to do this formulaically. Like for all the things we've named, you read it, and then each of us give one short comment on it, and we'll do it sequentially, and then just keep going.
All right. Runabout, Decepticon Battle Charger, functions Shock Trooper. A pretty car makes an even prettier wreck. Likes to watch things blow up. The bigger the explosion, the better. Uses parked cars and gas station fuel pumps for target practice. Usually stays busy as a battle charger, but terrified of boredom. Maximum speed 185 miles per hour, range 550 miles. Has high energy particle beam rifle. Easily distracted by a beautiful car because he wants to destroy it, not admire
Jesus.
it.
This guy's fun.
Yeah. Yes.
So I'll make my quick comment because I already got it here. I would like to see a crossover with Star Wars and their shock troopers because that's what they are.
Yeah.
They're what's called their black robotic. What's called
Those things from Mandalorian, the Dark Troopers.
Yeah. Right,
Mhm.
but they're also known as shock troopers as well too, right? So I would like to see a crossover. I see a huge similarity between those two. That's there's my comment.
My comment is just that I've been I've hated X-Transbots since Trailergate, but since then they've really been redeeming themselves by showing us by revealing all these very obscure figures that many of us doubted we would ever see from a company in MP scale because the market is so small. So X-Transbots is doing the Omnibots that we talked about last week, and they're also doing Runabout and Runamuck, and they look really good. Like these, they're just computer models so far, but they look dope. That's what I got on my screen here.
Oh, cool.
All right, so I will say, TF Collect says, I only collect modern Transformers figures. Only my MP figures come with cards with tech specs. I don't have any G1 figure or boxes from my childhood. And Joe Long says, which I'm guessing he's is speaking on Runabout. Runamuck. Serial vibes killer there. Serial killer vibes there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think TF Collect had a neat freak for a mother as well too.
Yeah. If only we could speak Japanese. Those masterpieces get those big fold-out things with like notes and pictures for each character. Those are like triple deluxe tech specs.
Nice.
Here's the scale of these X-Transbots.
Cool.
Right.
Ones that are coming out. Hot Rod.
All right.
Hot Rod.
You want to? Should we let Anthony read it?
Yeah.
Yeah, let me do this. My actions speak louder than words. Hot Rod is an all-American boy Autobot. He's a typical adolescent who dreams of being heroic and important. He tends to follow rules too closely. Although he means well, Hot Rod's impulsive actions often get him into trouble. He carries 2 photon lasers that temporarily electromagnetize an enemy robot's microcircuits. Speed, 120 miles per hour. Range, 4 miles. He can be hot-headed, but he's always a well-meaning, admirable lad and a brave and honorable fighter. It's a little bit unusual. He follows rules too closely. Did they make a typo?
Yeah, that's pretty weird, right?
4 miles.
Maybe it's a red herring. Because my comment on this is simply going to be, I think that's like that stands out to all of us, right?
Yeah.
So not including that one sentence, it almost sounds like that bio, very different than the other bios we've read, looks like that bio may have been written like with the plot of the film already in mind.
Yeah, probably. I think that might have been the timeline for it too, because most of these characters were specifically developed for the film. So
I'm thinking Keanu Reeves and Point Break.
Oh gosh, what a casting that would be.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Because he fits right in there, especially that first spot there, the first sentence there. Hot Rod is an all-American boy Autobot. I'm thinking surfer dude here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Keanu Reeves and Point Break. If it was a Transformer movie,
I never saw that.
it's actually a pretty good movie.
What is it about? Like what kind of film is this? It's a thriller.
It's an action film movie.
Okay.
My obscure guy, Hubcap.
Yep, the elusive Hubcap,
who has never appeared.
Joe Long was saying, look how high Hot Rod's firepower was, his power levels even before he became Rodimus, right?
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty up there.
His power was under-recognized, basically. Like people didn't pay enough attention to realize how powerful.
And he says, the funny thing is, his courage is the only thing that's even slightly low, and he was super courageous in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Optimus, no!
Meanwhile, you got Hubcap over here that has a firepower of 1. Oof.
Wow.
I want to congratulate you on a nice obscure selection.
Yeah. All right. So here's the guy that never appeared in anything until the 21st century. Hubcap. Weapons can win battles, but words can win wars.
Ooh.
Has everybody's friendship, nobody's trust. Affable, witty, generous, charming, but a con artist. Living proof of the Cybertronian adage, you can't tell an Autobot by its finish. Head module equipment receives AM and FM radio, shortwave, UHF, and VHF television signals as weak as 0.000001 watts. Maximum speed of 90 miles per hour, range 1,000 miles.
Ooh.
So this guy, firepower of 1, intelligence of 9, skill of 9. So this guy's like a smooth talker. He's not a fighter.
Yeah.
Basically, he's the Autobot Swindle.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be a Decepticon?
Well, but isn't this the point that we talk about, on Children of Primus, is that like it's never as cut and dried as good guys and bad guys.
Yeah.
It's really just people.
So I can see Swindle and him
Mm-hmm.
and Hubcap, let's just say at a Cybertronian cafe,
Yeah.
They
having
would hit it off.
having a game of poker there.
And they're both cheating.
Yeah, like that scene from
And
Han
they
Solo.
wouldn't respect each other if one another wasn't cheating.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in
add smoke screen.
Yeah, you know that scene in Han Solo when
Yeah.
he first
It's like
meets
that.
Lando.
Yeah.
That's what I see there.
Well, I mean, I wonder if we can quickly look up Swindle and the smoke screen.
See if Swindle's a counterpart of him.
Swindle and what?
Smoke screen, because smoke screen also cheats when he's playing.
Oh yeah. Okay, you're saying you're referencing actual G1 cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
Do movie reference for these characters.
Yeah, Swindle.
Nice.
Function munitions expert. Make deals, not war.
Destro.
Easygoing and good-natured, but within him beats the fuel pump of the most greed-driven street hustler. Thrives on wheeling and dealing.
Damn, he's a street hustler, son.
Yeah.
I want you to
He's
know.
from Jada Finch.
Works for his own personal material advancement. A one-robot black market. Uses a scatter blaster.
That's a good line. A one robot black market shit.
Uses a scatter
Listen,
blaster.
Megatron, I know you could all blow us away with a black hole, but wouldn't you rather just look? I got this sparkling thing. I want to. No, yes, I did get it from the junkyard, but listen, this is the dopest sparkling thing you've ever seen.
Uses a scatter blaster that sprays explosive pellets. Gyro gun that disturbs Transformers' balance center. Combines with his fellow combaticons to form Bruticus. Prone to overturning on sharp turns. It's like so specific.
Jeep, like a Suzuki.
You just took the words out of my mouth.
No, listen to this. Listen to this. Here's what's so interesting about this. Here's my comment on this one. Is we all thought we knew Swindle, but look at the fact he is a combaticon, which is my favorite combiners. He's a combaticon, and I love Onslaught, even though I don't think he's depicted well in fiction. But notice that Swindle, he says, "Make deals, not war," and he's a combaticon. Look at how non-lethal his weapons are.
Yeah.
Like he really does. He's not even walking around with something to kill you. Like even if you decide to kill him, and he's like, "Yo, let's make a deal," you say, "Nah," you start shooting at him. He starts shooting at you, hopes to throw you off balance, so then he could just go ahead with his sales pitch again.
And then that's when he transforms and tries to quickly get away in his Jeep mode, and then overturns.
Wipes out in the corner.
I see him, Swindle, and Hubcat. Swindle, Hubcat, and Destro all sitting at a table.
Yeah,
That's good. Side. That would be a good picture. We got to get that up on Children of Primus.
Yeah.
Okay, let me quickly see what a smoke screen is saying.
All three of these would be at the same table.
Yeah.
Function, diversionary tactician. A look can be deceiving. A touch can be lethal. Whether engaged in raging battle or friendly conversation, an ulterior purpose usually exists. Job is to lead enemy astray. Sneaky, but charming and affable. Considered the most devious yet most trusted of the Autobots. Until Hubcat came along a year later.
So he is the general.
Yeah.
because because hubcap doesn't have nobody's trust.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
Mhm.
Yeah. In car mode, emits thick
So
smoke.
when we're
from
doing
tail-
the ages, so when we're giving doing that chart with the ages, like smokescreen obviously is a generation above little
Mhm.
hubcap.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I see a picture of them now with Destro all playing cards, right? And having like a knife, like stuck under the table. Like,
That's gonna be our banner. That should be the banner for the website.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's dope. What did
Like
you
they're
say
all
they have
sitting
under the
there
table?
and they all have
What?
a knife jammed right under the table and they're like ready, and they're all looking at each other like ready to
Nah. Almost. But here's the difference. I agree with everything except that the Autobots actually have weapons to kill. But Swindle is really there just to make a deal.
Okay.
And we
Who's
all
Destro?
think, oh, he's the Decepticon, he's trying to kill people. Yeah, Destro's got a bomb, obviously. He doesn't have a gun, he's got a bomb.
Mhm.
But with
that
the house,
famous-
he can't shoot it out with Transformers. You're gonna have to just blow everybody up.
It's like that famous picture with all the dogs playing poker,
Yeah,
but you have those guys in there and stuff.
that would be dope. That
There
would
you
be
go.
dope. And so we got to figure out who are the other wheeler and dealers.
Yeah.
What about Blur? There's definitely other traders in the fiction that when we think
Well,
about it.
counterpart.
Yeah, punch counter punch. I was
Yeah.
thinking of goes with smokescreen. Goes with this
Wow,
fire.
I never thought of this as smokescreen, eh?
Mhm.
Me neither. Me because he had our trust. We've been betrayed.
We've been lied.
Since
Mhm.
we were children. We were things.
I say
Things are not as they appear.
Still
another
Illuminati, man.
episode, we'll do like another segment of just going through more tech specs to really dig into these characters.
Yeah, just going over these is fun, honestly.
It is.
So are we not going to go to? Should we start off with Omega next time rather than go to Omega now?
You know what? Let's finish off with Omega because
Okay.
Omega, right?
Let's
Alpha
do it.
Omega.
Let's do it, and
Yeah.
let's wrap it up in like 5 minutes. Let's go.
Yeah, because I gotta go myself. That's all.
Cool. We'll end with a bang.
Yeah.
Omega
Guardian
Supreme. Function defense base. Unyielding resolve has no conqueror. The ultimate defense force! Exclamation mark. Great strength, even greater courage. Serious. Wait, is that true stats wise? Oh, they're both 10. Okay.
Wow.
Great strength, even greater courage. Serious, even grim. Dramatic pause. Last line of Autobot defense. Protects the Ark and all else vital to his cause. As a robot, can shatter a mountainside, lift 300,000 tons with a clawed arm, destroy a 12-inch steel cube with plasma blaster arm. Has a head-mounted laser cannon. Can transform to laser cannon tank and launching pad with a rocket. Rocket can achieve planetary orbit. Well, that was 90% stuff he does.
Yep.
You know what I've never tried to do. So here's another like interesting thing to do with tech specs. Sometime or maybe one of you can tell me if you know. Probably this has been done on some website in some group by some super nerds, but you could go through the tech specs. There's all these numerical references, right? This person can this transformer can lift this much or can shoot these kind of waves or whatever. But it'd be interesting to go through the tech specs and put all the numbers in a spreadsheet. Oh, Orlati, you said you like spreadsheets, did you? You could put it in a spreadsheet, and then you could see like if it actually lines up and makes sense. Kind of like that chart we were seeing about the time with the cycles and the astroseconds and stuff.
Right.
Like this weight that it says that he can lift up. When we compare other tech specs that talk about the weight people can lift, does it make sense?
Well, what's back in high school, the one friend I was saying, Jason, who was a huge mech fan, he created a Dungeons and Dragons Transformers type game where the roll of the dice was had kind of tied in with the numbers from the tech specs.
Nice.
Wow. Maybe we can recreate that here.
Actually, there's a guy who's doing it. I don't know if there's any connection. But Bobby Skullface last weekend or the week before, last week, he threw up a video where he showcased somebody who's done exactly that. He's created a whole role-playing game, which you can play, Transformers game that you can just play online.
Right.
Oh,
Nice.
cool. So what are we? So I know I missed some earlier comment because I had to take off for 2 seconds. So what was the comments that you guys made here? Was this guy?
Oh, I was just gonna say it was funny how it was like 90% stuff that he does as opposed to who he is. They're like he's really
he's
strong
private.
and he's grim. Yeah,
He's a private kind of guy.
actually,
He doesn't
that's
see
true.
the logic in talking to you about his feelings.
Well, he did with Optimus.
Yeah, unless Optimus sits him down.
Feelings.
Yeah, they were both sitting by the mountainside there.
That was so discriminatory. What Optimus said to him.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
can you talk like in your normal voice?
No, not in normal voice. No, close. What did he actually say?
The Cybertronian voice? No.
No,
No,
like a
can
regular
you talk
Autobot.
like a regular Autobot?
Oh, okay.
You know what? I know the story behind why that was. It was because when they were writing the scripts,
No, it
the
doesn't
writer-
matter about that. That was
Yeah.
discriminatory.
Hold
Sure,
on,
there's a
let me
good
finish his
reason.
point.
Yeah, it was because
1% at a time.
when they were writing the scripts initially, the guy that wrote that episode script wasn't aware of Omega Supreme's like speaking pattern, so he had to rewrite the whole episode. And then he decided he didn't want to rewrite his whole long monologue about what happened, so he just added that line because he was lazy and didn't want to change the whole speech.
Wow.
Now, here's my
Fail.
question to you guys. Okay, Marvel Comic had the last Autobot, right? Do we all know who the last Autobot is?
We talked about him on a previous episode.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just want to be sure. Okay. But then in the cartoon, it's like Omega Supreme here, or in his tech spec, it looks like he's like the last Autobot.
Well, I mean, in terms of the timing of when they created these bios and the toys, because initially Optimus was the largest Autobot, but Omega wasn't released yet. Now Omega's the last line of defense. All the others weren't released yet. So it just kept, each year it just kept going up in terms of who's the last line of defense.
Yeah, from him to Metroplex and right up to Fortress Maximus, right?
So here's how I would explain that, because the goal, I think a lot of times people forget when we're asking these questions, like we oscillate back and forth between answering the question in a way of like, how could we make sense of the fiction, right? How can, in that world where clearly there's like an incongruency, doesn't make sense, what's the best like story suture we can add on there? What kind of Band-Aid can we make up, right? For that kind of thing. So, what was the example you just said, Orlati?
No, I was just saying from Marvel in the earlier draft they had the last Autobot. Then from the cartoon you have
So
Omega.
here's what I want to say about that. Yeah. So like rather than saying like, okay, in the real world that we live in, there are mistakes. The person didn't read the other thing or didn't bother making it make sense. That's not the interesting thing to theorize about, right? So what we want to do here is like, okay, how could you actually make sense of it? So here's how we do that. And I remember, and I thought about this even when I was a kid, and I read, okay, Optimus Prime is the biggest and strongest of all Autobots. Now, when I got that was already, I didn't get Optimus in 84. I got him in 85, right? So by that time, we had all these bigger Transformers out. So it's like, this doesn't make sense. But the way we can think of it is these tech specs are like written, it's like information in a database that is relevant to a specific audience, right? So like it was typed up and they were just talking about the ARC Autobots when they said Optimus is the biggest and strongest. They didn't mean of all the Transformers exist. They mean of these guys who currently are on Earth and carrying out this mission, he's the biggest and strongest. And that's how, and similarly with these other things, like who's the last line of defense? Well, what year are we talking about? And do we mean the last line of defense on Earth or in the universe? And those would be different answers. Both correct, though. Over to you guys.
Yeah, I like the idea of it being an in-universe set of documents.
No, I have no problem with that. Especially with every Transformer I guess, has its own canon. We've gone into details about all this stuff, right? It's just my only thing is that, you know, it kind of goes back to what Dee said a little bit of it'd be nice sometimes if the writers read, you know, some of that information that was done before, right? And try to keep it a little bit, you know,
make it make sense.
Thank you. or consistent. Yeah. That's all, right? Yeah, and then you can build on after saying, okay, you know, the last Autobot was this guy for that time. Now Omega took over. Then Metroplex took over. Now Fortress Maximus took over, and so forth, right? But, you know, that's okay. That's the fun part about these shows, right? We could talk about all these things. Otherwise, if these things didn't happen, we would be able to talk about it.
Anthony, do you want to read for Fortress Maximus?
Oh, yes. Fortress Maximus, subgroup Headmaster, human component Spike Witwicky, function Headmaster Leader. Prepare for war, but strive for peace. Valiant, courageous, a warrior without peer, but peace is his most fervent wish. Fights only out of necessity, believes all violence is ultimately pointless and counterproductive. Transforms to battle station and city modes. Armed with retractable pulse cannons, twin automatic machine gun batteries on wrists, twin laser-guided mortars on legs, heat-seeking dual laser blasters, and fusion-powered photon rifle. Has communications, detection, and repair equipment. Controls 2 armored vehicles, Gasket and Grommet, which combine to form Cog. Head transforms to semi-autonomous Cerebros, who is binary bonded to the Nebulan leader, Spike.
Ooh, semi-autonomous.
I was interested. I was going to say, oh no, you go ahead.
I was going to say it's interesting because this is very specifically Marvel Comics Fortress Maximus, where he was a guy who wanted peace, so he left Cybertron and went to Nebulos, and Cerebros was just like a semi-automated thing from him.
Yeah.
And, you know, eventually Spike bonded with him, though he wasn't a Nebulan leader. Like, that's the version that's written here, because, you know, in the cartoon, he was sort of like a thing that was built by Spike and Cerebros, and Cerebros was his own character. Right. And then in Headmasters, Cerebros was the main guy. There was no smaller Headmaster, and Fortress Maximus was his super mode. And he wasn't like a peace lover. He was just a heroic Autobot leader. So it's neat because the bio that's on the box is specifically the one that they would use in Marvel Comics.
Well, I was gonna say in the one cartoon like a few years ago, the personality the personality they gave Fortress in that cartoon matches this bio. Where he's basically like he just shut himself down because he didn't want to deal with any type of fighting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Prime Wars one.
Yes.
Yeah, that is kind of. It feels like they were reading this a little bit, even if the rest of the character was largely different in its conception.
Yes.
Do you have the Titan class version, Anthony?
Oh no, I don't have. The Commander Rodimus Prime that I just got. This is the biggest mainline figure I've gotten, and even then, he's not even that big because he's a guy with a big base.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say about guys with a big base, you know. But you know what I'm saying. Okay. So anyway, I just said off topic, but I mentioned last week that I wanted to talk about these Zeta aerial bots, which are legend scale, right? So Zeta currently has, they have out the best masterpiece scale Superion. And here, let me throw that on here for you guys to see. This guy right here,
nice,
is their masterpiece scale version, and so now they just started putting out these mini versions of these legend scale versions of the aerial bots. So they're basically, it looks to me that these alt modes are basically the exact same size or within the same scale anyway as the G1 aerial bots, but they're fully articulated. So like that's another, like a different version of this thing that we talk about with Masterpiece, where it's what we always wanted as a kid. Like, you remember when, you had that little aerial bot or that Constructicon, you transformed it into a robot and like the legs don't move at all, right? You can't bend the knees, you can't bend the elbows. And you were just like looking at it being like, Why didn't they just put a joint on the elbow at least? And here it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you just had a magic wand and you just zapped those G1 figures and just gave them all this articulation. It's pretty awesome.
Nice.
Over to you guys. What do you think? What would you guys buy this set?
I'm not into third party or legends, but if I was, I like the idea of having small little combiners like that. Just because the biggest reason I don't have many combiners is just because they take up so much space.
Right.
So like mini ones do appeal to me on that level.
Yeah. I just love how the jet modes look so exactly like because I don't know if you guys had these figures as kids, but like these jets, the alt modes were really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah, they were.
So to like get new versions that are essentially the same thing, just better, is like pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is done really well.
And it's $40. You get two of them.
Oh, nice.
Ooh, it's not even a bad price.
That may be pounds. I think they're more like $50, but still, they're pretty cheap. Yeah. I think I might go in on this set. I skipped the New Age and Magic Square Constructicons. I just don't think they're good enough. But these guys, I think I may have to go in on. So.
Mm-hmm.
This was a fun episode doing the tech specs. I definitely agree, Spin, that we should continue going through some.
It's fun.
But for our wrap up, you guys want to do any plugs and should we go around and do our last words for the evening?
Yes. While Anthony's getting ready, a few inspired topics for the upcoming weeks will be is going to be the debate between collectors in terms of those who collect from the heart, who collect from just for the sake of collecting, and people who go around basically hating on other collectors. Because in one of the groups, there's
this is our Murder Prime image for talking about what we're going to do to these haters.
Nice.
Murder Prime.
Yeah, like in one of the groups, basically like, there's just people who go around just hating on other people's collections images, or basically stating, well, I only collect certain types, so if you collect those, I just kind of look down on you, and just basically hating for the sake of hating.
I mean, what other sake is there?
Yeah. And one thing I would say is in terms of like tech specs, going with the concept of like getting the toy, getting the tech specs, the instructions and everything. It's analogous to like getting a tape or an album in the 80s. We're getting the liner, the notes, the liner notes for for the songs, the album. Especially for albums, like all the graphics that you get to open and look up and that you get to look at. It's similar to the box art.
It's a great comparison. I like to album liner notes, yeah.
And actually, let's see. There's one of there we go, a Defensor box set from '85.
That's a lovely
dope.
Yeah. So that's one of the rare ones. And what's another one? I actually still had the side of the box that shows.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Start, change, finish.
Which only in the combiner instructions do they show the leaders having the fourth transformation mode.
Really?
So. Yeah, so then technically it's like between robot alt mode, part of a combiner, and then the fourth mode. All right, so Anthony, what do you have for this week upcoming?
Well, as I keep mentioning, as I've shown a few previous times, I finally managed to locate the big Commander Rodimus Prime, who I've been waiting for a long time. Long write up of this thing, a lot of pictures. That'll be coming out tomorrow. It's a Commander class, so it's hella expensive, and they threw everything and the kitchen sink into this box to try and justify the price. Like, there's enough blast effects in here to like arm a small group of figures, just stuff like that. So I'm gonna have a big look at this whole thing tomorrow. Then on Friday, right before it hopefully goes out the door to the convention, we'll have a look at the old Siege Red Alert.
Nice.
Then and that segues into next Monday, where I look at the one of the two Amazon sets, Battle Across Time, with a more version of Sideswipe, and an eagle who is a maximal named Skywarp. What's the deal with that? I'll explain eventually. Yeah, that's what I got going on.
All right. Oh, and what's next week? Could you're doing something for next week Sunday, I believe.
Yes. Also, third is my birthday. Yeah, and I will be at the Ontario Collectors Con in Mississauga with a bunch of other people at a table selling a bunch of figures. That's why I got these out. Yeah, Mississauga. I forget the name of the hotel, but yeah, just look it up. It's up there. It's the same place they have TFCon if you ever go to that.
So are either of you guys not available to go film his table? Do a little interview with him at his table?
I would love to, but unfortunately I'm working.
I'm saying I'm gonna take some video at least. I'm gonna come back with something. I
Cool.
might be dead on my feet afterwards because I'm going there mad early. But like, I will bring something back with me.
Well, I'll tell you right now, anybody watching, if you're in Canada, go see him, get an autograph. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brainstorm. Like he's smart. You know what else is smart? Going to the Ontario Collectors Con. And you know what else is smarter? Going to childreofprimus.com and participating in what we have there, which is the classifieds and all of our news and blogs. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this, Anthony. If you got any leftovers, post them on our classified.
Yeah, exactly.
And then not just only that, if anybody's there and they happen to stop by and visit Anthony, take some pictures and post it on Instagram and tag Children of the Primus on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of my favorites from back in the day.
Oh, he's just flexing with this art.
Oh yeah.
this you could hang all of these on a wall. Like that's how great these big murals are.
Yeah.
It's Power
It's
Master
great.
Optimus. Yeah.
Yeah, like that image is just amazing.
Yeah.
Right, boys. I gotta go. Because I want to go home.
Yes. Shout out to everyone that has joined us. Shout out to TF Collect, Joe Long. Another good session. I've never given so much thought about tech specs. Looking forward to the future topics and agree. Good stuff, guys. Shout outs to Calvin and to David and to Kiara. And everyone else that has joined us for the evening.
Appreciate the love, guys. It's really great.
Yeah,
Thanks
so
for
much.
stopping by.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
And if you guys want a headshot and with a sign, my signature Patreon for the first 20,000 subscribers. You're
gonna be one of the famous presenters at TFCon next year.
And one last thing, if anybody's still watching, thrust.
Oh gosh.
Take your shots. All right, guys, I gotta go because I want to go home. I'm still stuck at where. And
Shots fired. Murder crime.
Everybody, have a good night.
Have a good
Stay safe and peace out.
And
All
until all are one.
Till all
are one.
Are one.
The job will be done.
Mm-hmm.